enthusiastic for what Brother Neil Frazier is about to bring.
Oh yeah, that's my song right there. That's my song. That song really kicks me off.
I got an echo going on over here, and I think it's my fault.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think I have an echo over here right now.
Okay.
And I'm hearing myself over here and my stuff, so I don't know what the heck is going on. So I'm going to keep my introduction brief since it is echoing.
Okay. Yeah, because you're kind of fading in and out.
Yeah. Wonder what the heck is going on here.
If I was a betting man, I'd say we have some type of interference. But that's good, man. That's a good sign. That means that the law of polarity is at work. You know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So
I'm going to keep myself short on this.
Okay.
Everything echoing off. But brother, I'm going to correct talking, and I'm going to come back with everything.
Okay.
But you're the focal point tonight, and the show will go on. So I'm going to myself, I'm going to have you come on in.
All right.
And we're going to do it. This is not going to.
Yes, sir.
It's mine. Trust me. All right.
I believe it. All right, brother. Okay. Greetings, everyone.
Across the bottom.
Okay.
Yours, brother.
All right. So I have two screens here, but I'll just talk because it doesn't really matter, right? I got a little screen here and a screen up top. But anyway, greetings to everyone in the chat room today. I hope everyone had a productive weekend. The weather comes in and out here in California. I suspect other parts of the country, different things are going on with climate change. But I'm happy to be here today. We have a very important topic to discuss. One of the things that I always try to do is keep my ear to the energy that's being directed towards our people. And so that, knowing that we're at war, to constantly look at subjects that will help us in this war so that we'll be able to recognize and be aware of any new, certainly we're aware of the old weapons that are used against us, but in order to see the new weapons that are being formed, we must look at the root of where these weapons are being originated from. So today, we're going to talk about the fear of a black planet, divine retribution, and the end of the system of evil. So in this presentation, one of the things that I decided is to now do a lecture series type format, and that's because it's very important that our people get the statistical data that's out here. That some shows I may go back to the format where I'm just talking about a subject, but I believe that it's more important for our people to get this information now because of the new weapons that are being formed. We must really open our first eye so that we can see them. A lot of times we have to react to it because we don't see it before it comes. So there are 5 parts to this presentation. I'll run through them real quickly. System of evil, global economic slavery. The second one is money creation, economic warfare, and the trinity of terror, which is the World Bank, IMF, and the Federal Reserve. The third part is the global business of currency devaluation. Then we'll talk about real terrorism and the social economic terrorism that we currently live under. And then finally, we'll close out with the fear of a black planet, divine retribution, and the end of the system of evil. I'm going to cover a lot of points. I'm going to discuss the relevancy of these points to us in today's world, and how this all applies to how we must move forward here in this country and also globally, because we know that we are a global people, regardless to the statistics that you might see or the propaganda put out on TV. We are 92% of the world's population, and that's very significant. Okay. So in this system of evil and this global economic slavery, we know that the corporations are nations. This is something that has blinded us in terms of how we view the corporate structure in this country. But today we're going to talk directly about this, how we have been hoodwinked, and why we must now look directly at what this system of evil is, how it is opposed to the creatrix system, and we must see it for what it is. The first thing we're going to talk about money creation. And this is a very significant subject because money is not what you think it is, or what you have been what you have been taught that it is. Okay. There's a document that was created by the individual elites that actually set this in motion and set the blueprint for this. And this document is called Modern Money Mechanics. Okay, and at the root of this philosophy, I don't want to call it a concept, but it is a philosophy that's actually being played out by these financial institutions. So this document is very important. It's called Modern Money Mechanics. And in this document, it explains and I refer to them as weapons because we are at warfare. And I always like to remind people that because we are taught in a linear fashion or a 90-degree fashion, as I like to say, angle, then we tend to look at things always from a physical perspective. But keep in mind that we operate on three planes of existence, and that is not just physical, but psychological as well as spiritual. So the number one weapon that's used against us and all Americans actually, but primarily these weapons affect us at a level that it doesn't affect other people. This weapon is inflation, and inflation is basically a hidden tax on society. So I want to talk about a weapon that's very, very important to the mechanics of inflation. And so I'm going to be using the terminology that they use in this document so that we can get a clear understanding of what this is and comprehension. So inflation causes devaluation. I'll throw some statistics at you real quick so we can discuss this. So in 1913, $1, okay, it required $21.60 by the year 2007. And now that's 16 years ago to match its value. So, in other words, the dollar you have today, okay, it takes, I would say, about 30 to 35 of your dollars, which takes away from the strength of it, although they have ways of hiding this from you. But your purchasing power has been devaluated. Okay, so that is 96% devaluation since the Federal Reserve came into existence. There's another important, and for me, I didn't understand this years ago, but I understand it perfectly now. Why it's more important in this system to actually go into debt, but they teach us to get out of debt. Okay, but you never really get out of debt. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why. But just this concept we have to look at, because remember, they teach us in reverse, and this is in all areas. Okay, so money is debt. The more money in circulation, the more debt that exists. Okay, so a former governor of the Federal Reserve System, Marina Essie, said that if there were no debt, there wouldn't be any money. So I want to give a definition of devaluation. Devaluation is the reduction in the official value of a currency in relationship to other currencies. Okay, so this is why when you travel abroad, you may have a different exchange rate. Okay, because this game is being played for a reason, but they hide the devaluation of the dollar to us here in America until we get abroad and we see the true picture. Also, in 1835 was the last time that the national debt was completely paid off. Okay, President Andrew Jackson shut down the central bank. Now, this was a very important time in our history, because at the time too, they were dealing with the issues of, they knew that slavery was coming to an end. So they were looking at, okay, what are we going to do with all this wealth that we created? How are we going to monetize it and make it, compound it, the value of it? So this is where they started these debates about moving forward with the currency base that the United States government was going to use. So we all know that in 1913, the Federal Reserve was established. Okay, it was established on what is called fiat currency. Okay, and this is a perpetual debt on the American people. So we know that whenever the dominant culture here in the United States, when they are dealing with certain issues, then it affects us 100-fold. Okay, so once the Federal Reserve was established and this perpetual debt and fiat currency was put into motion, then I already talked to you about the fraudulent nature of banking, which is done through inflation, but it's also done through a process of interest, which the Federal Reserve controls. And this is very important because the Federal Reserve is not regulated by any governmental institution. So this already puts us in deep water financially, because you have people controlling the interest rate of this counterfeit money that has no intrinsic value, but all of its value is being given to us as something intrinsic. So the way that this modern mechanics is set up, money mechanic is set up, you have the principal, which is the money supply. Okay, then you have the principal plus the interest, which is the money owed. And then you have the principal, which is basically the money that's available to you. That's why sometimes when you go to the bank and you have $5,000 in the bank, but you only have maybe 2,000 of it available. Okay, this is the reason why. So uh, they use interest to control the value of our dollar. So even though you might think, okay, I'm getting a good interest rate or what have you, that's all a bunch of smoke. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to be in a perpetual hamster wheel of debt. Um, this perpetual debt and deficit, and this is why you see the people we call politicians now playing out this game about the debt ceiling, is because it's to keep you thinking that there is some intrinsic value with the amount of money that they print. But we're going to talk about that process, and we're going to see just how invaluable or no the value of this fiat currency has no value. There is nothing of value about it. There are several things that happen as a result of this perpetual debt and deficit that are put in place. It's always going to be defaults. There's always going to be bankruptcies. Okay, they can take your property if you can't pay your taxes, and this is why we had such a big rise in foreclosures over the last 20, 30 years. Okay, so an interesting thing happened um, because there was someone that challenged the validity or the value of this counterfeit money. That's what I call it, or we'll just call it fiat currency. In 1969, Jerome Daly versus the United States, there was a mortgage dispute. And this is where the term consideration comes from. And in this dispute, Jerome Daly said that they tried to foreclose on his property, and he said that that couldn't be done because the money that was created by the bank was created out of thin air, and that the bank just created the money through digits, and that this money had no intrinsic value. Can they prove that it does? So in the testimony of the bank president, he had to admit this under oath, that no U.S. law, okay, or statute gives authority to any bank to create debt, okay, and that the bank that he was president of never had any money with an intrinsic value in the beginning. Okay, so in other words, there was no money. So one of the things that, and he won the case, by the way. So one of the things that we don't recognize as well is that only 3%, okay, of the U.S. currency is physical money. Okay, the other 97%, and this is scary when you really look at how this system is set up. You know, you never know when the bottom is going to fall out. Okay, because 97% of what we call money is really what I call poof money. You know, it doesn't exist. It's like a smoke, a puff of smoke. It doesn't really exist. Okay, it's not like some kind of magic or voodoo or witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. Well, we won't call it voodoo because we know that that's a spiritual thing that's attached to our people that was corrupted. Um, the other president that dealt with this issue was Abraham Lincoln. Okay, now he did something very interesting. He created what they call the greenback, which was a independent, debt-free currency. Okay, but the reason why Abraham Lincoln was assassinated was because the same reason they assassinated John Kennedy is because he wanted to establish the U.S. Banking system on gold standard, okay, or the U.S. financial system on the gold standard. But we know the outcome of this. We know that the people that really run this system are above our presidents and our government. Okay, so as we look more at this system of modern slavery, one of the things that we really have to come to grips with is that society can never become free. You can never have financial freedom, unlike what you're told, because this perpetual debt, okay, and the interest used to continue to create this cycle will never allow you to, if you're only using fiat currency, to rise above a certain state. So this is why it's important for us to have land, okay, because one of the things that I can see down the road when they eliminate paper money and everything is done through a digital format, that we're going to run into issues if we don't have land. Okay, and land is the foundation of capitalism. Okay, so, you know, we like to think that we work for corporations, but in actuality, you work for banks. Okay, because there is no difference between the financial relationship between the banks, okay, and the corporations. So, in this economic slavery, okay, which is an invisible war against society, we look at how we are manipulated by these three main players in this system. So, one is the World Bank, and I hope you guys can't hear the guy out there working in the yard. But anyway, the three major players in this economic global slavery system is the World Bank, the IMF, and the Federal Reserve. Now, the IMF, actually, the World Bank was created to help eliminate world poverty or global poverty. But in effect, it did just the opposite. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how that affects people of color. Okay, so they there are two ways to conquer a nation. And this one of our former presidents, John Adams, said this. Either one is by the sword, okay, and the other is by death. So I'm gonna show exactly what he meant by this statement, because this is a very profound statement. In fact, those that actually carry out this system, they have a specific agenda that's attached to what John Adams said. So I want to say this again, because as we go forward, this statement is going to have a big impact on the way that we look at this. He said that there are two ways that you can conquer and enslave a nation. One is through the sword or the gun, and the other is by debt. So I have a reference here by John Perkins, who wrote the book Economic Hitman. This was a very interesting book, because as a person who was an insider that actually was somebody that carried out these modern money mechanics against other countries, we get a firsthand look at how this actually plays out. So what he said is, as an economic hitman, what they would do is once they were called in and they looked at the dossier of this of the president of whatever country they were going to deal with, okay, they looked at who he was or who she was, how they could bribe them, persuade them, manipulate them, anything they could do in order for to put forward this agenda. Uh, so he said they would go with two options to the leader of a country. Okay, they would go with $10 billion, just using a figure. Sometimes it's a lot more than that. They would offer them and their country, their government, 10 billion plus dollars. Okay, um, in the one hand, but in the other hand, they would show them the gun. So this is a form of gangsterism. Okay, and we know that these people are global gangsters, um, because the president of this country is for and basically what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we'll give you the $10 billion if we can bring in our corporations. Okay, that's basically what it comes down to, because the money itself has no value, only the value that they give it. All right, so it's important to remember this, that this guy, John Perkins, I recommend you get his book, was an economic hitman for the U.S. government. Okay, and this is how this game is played. Okay, so I don't know how many of you saw the movie years ago. It's called The Jackal, and that's actually a true story in terms of how this whole system and these economic hitmen are carried out. So what John Perkins said was, if they could not bribe them, and this was during a time when the presidents of different countries, they really cared about the people. Okay, because you only have two systems in operation. You have the system of resource, and then you have the system of monetary or monetary mechanism and a resource mechanism. So the majority of people that were elected to lead their countries were resource oriented. They cared about the people. Many of them came up from, poverty or scarce means. Very few of the elected officials in these countries come from what we call money. So, um, so what happened was he said that if they could not bribe these governmental officials or the presidents of these countries, then they brought in the jackal, and the jackal was a individual who his only purpose was to eliminate that president or that. So they tell us that they have this what is it? This moral code, which we know is not true, of not assassinating the president of a solvent nation. Okay, we know this is not true. You might, I mean, that's what you might tell us, but your actions show something totally different. And this system, this evil system that's set up, shows something totally different. So what he said that the jackal was sent in. If they refuse to sell out their people, and sometimes they would increase the amount. And John Perkins said that on a couple of occasions, I'll give the examples so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But on a couple of occasions that he really, really felt, okay, for these presidents of these countries who really love their people, because really they put you between a rock and a hard place. So this is one of the reasons why you see, particularly in the motherland, a lot of our presidents of different countries, they're put in a position where they have to make certain decisions. And if they don't have, the other thing is that they use the United States military, okay, as a bully, which is, you know, one of the things they try to do is they try to say if we don't go along with their evil agenda that we're against the US military. What we're against is you using them to do these evil acts. We understand that you have to have a military. What we're saying is, you know, and the majority of people in the military come from poor families, black, brown, and white. And we know, you take Korea, that many of our, many of our brothers and sisters died on Korean soil. Okay. So, but the important thing that he was saying is that they really tried hard to convince these leaders that they really don't have an option. Okay. That they really don't have an option. That, hey, Lance, hold on. Let me tell this guy I don't know. Can you guys hear the electric saw outside? Is that affecting the audio?
No, everything is good.
Oh, okay, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So he said the last resort rather, is to send in the jackal. Okay, and when the jackal goes in, it's pretty much over. It's pretty much over. So what they do is they take out that president and they bring in someone that will allow these corporations to go in, okay, and basically take over the financial situation in that country. Now, here are some of the devastating effects of this system. 34,000 children die every day from poverty and from curable diseases. A lot of the diseases that they die from, we have cures for. But again, when a system is based on greed, corruption, evil, and money, then it's not really concerned about the welfare of the people, even children. So, you know, when you have these wolves pretending that they're foxes and that they care about children, like they'll show these pictures on TV, send so much amount of a donation to help this cause. We know that this is not true. We know this is not true. So, because the World Bank is controlled by U.S. interests, because the U.S. has financial establishment, or the Federal Reserve has jurisdiction over these banks. Okay, simply because the dollar is, as crazy as this sounds, how could you have something backing other currencies? Okay, this is a situation that's set up for failure, that it within itself has no intrinsic value. This is why our people need to start looking seriously about purchasing gold coins, silver, uh, different commodities, and look to invest. Because when the bottom fall out, guess who's going to be holding the bag? Because black people are taught to have money. Oh, I got so much money in the bank. I got blah, blah, blah. Okay. That is not real money. Okay. This is one of the issues I have with reparations and them paying a check, because we all know, see, things happen for a reason. A lot of times it's bigger than when the creatrix does something. It's bigger than what we can see, because we're always looking at things from a physical perspective. But I do believe that Yi was used to send us this warning. So how does a person go from having $1 billion in the bank to $140 million? How does that happen? Through devaluation. The same thing I'm talking to you about today. But had he had taken some of that money and purchased, some commodities, and we don't know if he did or not. I'm just saying hypothetically from what they present to us, uh, that this could not have happened to him. And this is why when they set up these exorbitant contracts for our professional players, um, that they cannot purchase any commodities. A lot of people don't know that because that money is digital money. And so they did after the game last night, they have this series going on called, what is it? Riches and Shamelessness or something like that, where they talk about the different professional athletes that are bamboozled by these people that are just basically, hoodwinking them. And they had this really nice looking sister. I think her name was Peggy King, that basically defrauded Dennis Rodman and I don't know if you saw it, Lance, but Dennis Rodman and Ricky Williams out of millions of dollars. Okay, and one of the things that we have to recognize is that this system has created some type of psychosis in our people, where we know not only will we defraud each other and do stuff like that, but we'll kill each other over it. Okay, and this is a very serious sickness and illness that we have simply because we don't see what this beast, what the real nature of this beast is. So going back to John Perkins' book, The Economic Hitman, um, what he said was very, very important because in effect, like I said, he was using gangsterism. Basically, they go in and they lock you in a room and they look at you and say, okay, well, you have two choices. You make the choice. And this is the true nature of this beast. It's not what they show us on TV and all this other stuff. Okay, so things fall apart. Things have already fell apart, but they're lying to us about the true nature of the economic status of people in this country. Okay. When you see the failure of a major bank, trust me, that's not just an individual situation. Okay. That's just like if you have an illness in your body, it's not just going to affect that part of your body, it could spread like a cancer. Okay. So when you see a failure of a bank, you're seeing like just the tip of the iceberg. You're not seeing the other things that are going on behind the scenes with that entire system because all of it is intertwined. Okay, so let's see here. I wanted to talk about something very important here, how they actually perpetuate this scheme. So we know that society can never be free, and this is behind why they keep wages low, because they actually export this system to the poorest countries in the world. And they still use this communist manifesto that we talked about in the other video to carry this out. So you have these elite people, you have the people that wear the Armani suits, okay, the $5,000 Armani suits that work at the highest levels of our financial institutions, our government, and also in society in general. Okay, these people are at the highest levels. Okay, so what happens basically is they go into a country, they control the interest rate once they have removed the president or whoever was in power in that country. Then they go into that country, they put this system in, and they begin to raise the interest rates on all any type of loan or any type of mortgage that you get in that country. Any individual that gets a loan, okay, is now subject to these high interest rates. And this is why you see all of these people migrating here. And when I give these statistics, we're going to plainly see they try to make it seem like, and all of these people are coming. The dollar is the currency for their financial situation. So they are basically using the same dollar we're using. But some of these statistics are staggering. Okay. And so we'll see exactly how this is done and why they have created this migration here. Okay, so the debt, when they go into these countries and they replace these presidents and leaders, then the debt is created by huge loans, okay, from the IMF that can never be paid back. Okay, and this puts the country at risk. Okay, so immediately the country is put in a situation where they can never pay these debts back. And I'm going to use what I call a classic case, a scenario, besides the one I showed with the bank president admitting under oath that there is no law or statute in the United States that gives banks this authority to do this to the American people or people from any country where the dollar is used. So, they begin to use propaganda on the general public, okay, to blindside people to what actually is going on behind the scenes. Okay, so they okay, so we're going to use the example of South America and Ecuador, because this was one of the ones that really stood out in my mind years ago when I first became aware of this evil system. So I'm not going to put, so okay, so in Ecuador, this is what happened with the system that I just explained when it was exported to Ecuador, because they wanted to get a hold to the resources. Because remember, the real war and the global war is about taking resources from other countries. I don't care what they say. They're not going in there. They might go in there with the Bible, okay, or they might go in there with missionaries, okay, but they're true, with the fox personality, but their true wolf-like personality is based on deception. So this Ecuadorian president was assassinated in a plane crash. Someone gave him a tape, okay, an audio tape to take on board, I guess, for him to, record certain things or whatever the reason was. But it was actually it was a very sophisticated. Sorry, I gotta get more sleep. I can't be you, Lance. But so it's a very sophisticated way of killing him. And the jackal that was sent to do this was a person that specialized in this area. So let me see here. So the reason why he was assassinated is because he refused to be manipulated or bribed by the U.S. government. He basically said, no, we're not going to allow you to come in here, because most of these guys or women that become presidents of these countries, they know what's going on. So they know what they're fighting against. many times they've been briefed by someone in the Western world, either United States or Europe, that basically lays all of this out, how the World Bank, the IMF, and the Federal Reserve operates. So they imagine having this type of burden where you have to make a choice. You have millions of people dependent on you, but you have to make this choice whether or not you're going to allow this beast to come in and basically devour your country, or you're going to stand up and fight back. And then many times when you do that, that meant death. And so they knew this. Okay, so uh, the name of this president was Jamie Rodolphus Aquiria, something like that. So he was the Ecuadorian president that defied the U.S. government and their bribes. And because of this, because he didn't want to sell out his people, he was assassinated. So no matter what they say about this policy of not, assassinating presidents of a sovereign country, this is a lie. This is not true. Okay. The other example I have here was Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. So he actually wanted to invest his oil so that his country could trade with other governments besides the United States. They said no, you can't do that. So he didn't want to become more dependent on this slavery system, this economic slavery system. And again, you have someone who's standing up for his country to these bullies and these gangsters and saying, no, we don't want to do this. We want to be in control of our own oil. We don't want Texaco and Chevron to come in here and take all of our oil, and then then give us this fiat currency, which has no intrinsic value, and then we become slaves to you. No, we're not going to do that. So again, Hugo Chavez is a big example of what these people do and the consequences of you standing up against these bullies. Okay, so the U.S. policies are carried out by U.S. corporations who are nations, and I'm going to give the statistics to prove this. Okay, the U.S. corporations are nations because in the system, everything is looked at as a nation, irregardless of what you're told. Okay, so they basically care about profits over environmental safety, which includes food and water. Okay, so I want to make sure that I explain the full characteristic of this system, because again, they tell us that you can be successful in America, you can be whatever you want to be, and all of these different deceptions that we're given. And this is one of the reasons why we still operate from an individual basis and why we do not build together. Because what we don't see down the road is that this is coming towards the end of this evil system. Trust and believe this. And Black folks are going to be in big trouble. We're going to be in huge trouble. The thing we have to remember is that land is the foundation of capitalism, and we don't have any land. And I explained in the other video that our lands were taken. But now we have to be careful, because what they do is they put these people up here that they say, okay, these are the people that are going to come up with the ways that we're going to pay the reparations. And you know what? We need to change that word. It's not reparations, it's the yield. Okay, using their words when they always want to make themselves glorify themselves. This is the yield of the labor that was produced by our people. This is not reparations, because we know that they and their descendants are living off of this yield. Okay. So first of all, we need to replace the language, because what they do is they get us caught up emotionally into these words that have no meaning. Okay. So I'm putting out a new word today that we should call this yield. We want to get the yield from the interest that's owed to us from what our ancestors produced. And that is in line with the language that they use. But again, they put together these people, okay, that say they represent us, which I don't trust. And all they're going to do is give us this fiat money with no land. I say that 75% of what we get should be in land, or in some type of commodity like gold, silver, or even oil. Or I'll take a portfolio from Chevron or oil or something like that. But I don't want no fiat money. Mm-mm. And see, this is behind why. Because see, when you're dealing with evil, they don't just plan for next year. Okay, this is a 50 to 100-year plan. These people, because again, they understand the concept of passing this yield down to their descendants so that they can maintain. Because first of all, they know that 8% of the population of the world could never control the other 92% unless they had some type of system that will subjugate the other 92% of people. And this is where their fear of a black planet comes from. Okay, so let's look at currency devaluation, because this is very important. And I want to read something that's very important for us to comprehend before we move forward. Okay. Okay. There's a concept in this system called trade liberalization. Okay. And basically, this is a concept or a law that they have created, okay, that allows them to remove any restrictions, okay, in a country that may prevent them from bringing in American corporations. So this allows for economic abuse and a manifestation by foreign entities or foreign governments or foreign corporations, okay, to bring in their products. They jack up the price, okay, and then they undercut the indigenous corporations. A big example of this is what happened in Jamaica. Okay, Lance, you're you know where your roots from with your dad. Jamaica is a prime example, and you see the fruits of this. You guys were talking about all of the things that are happening in Jamaica. Well, this is not just by happen chance. So what they did was Jamaica lost its crop production rights, and their farmers, who again are the protectors of the land, okay, and the soil there, they went in and they replaced the farmers in Jamaica. And then you saw this economic free fall that they still haven't recovered from. Okay, so let's talk about this very important characteristic of this modern money mechanics, as they call it, this document that European banks and American banks and the IMF, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve operate off. So in currency devaluation, right, it's when the value drops. When the value of that currency drops, then everything that's valued with this currency drops as well. And this is why I was making the point earlier where we're going to get caught holding the bag. Okay, because remember now, this money, 97% of this money that you think you have is digital money. So in other words, we've already shown from the person who challenged this and won this case. See, a lot of times, all we have to do is challenge the validity of this evilness to bring it to the surface. Okay, so this is why we have to operate in truth. This is one of the reasons why they have created the confusion between truth and lies. Whereas the person that's the most persuasive with the lie can overcome a truth teller. And our people psychologically have been trapped with this. Okay. So we know that everything, that's why when you drive a vehicle off of a lot, it immediately drops in value. You can drive a new car off a dealership, take it somewhere, and the blue book value is probably 25 to 30% less than what it was the day you bought it, which is the same day. And this is how we get trapped. Okay, so this particular concept, and I hate calling these concepts because they're really not. They're really just characteristics of this evil system, or weapons of this evil system. Okay, now this is what makes indigenous resources available, okay, to predatory corporations and banks. So you're holding all this money, okay, which is 3%. You're holding all this money that they have given you, this paper money, which we know has no intrinsic value. Then they come back to you 5 years later and say, that don't have the same value it had when we sold this to you, when we gave this to you. So now, instead of them having 10 billion, they got probably 500 million. And now they can't, they can't purchase the things they need in order to run their country. So what happens? They have to look to the IMF again to get one of these predatory loans. Okay. And then by then, they are so strapped financially that they have no choice but to come to the table. So then you've lost your bargaining chip. Okay. Or your trump card, as they call it. Now, I'm not a Donald Trump fan, okay? But Donald Trump understood this, okay? And as a businessman who benefited from this system, because I'll never forget when him and Hillary Clinton was debating, and she said, "Well, how do you know?" He said, "Because all of your friends and the people I know, and I use this system." So, but the one thing that Donald Trump understood was China owned all of these bonds. And if they decided to cash it in, we would be up shit's creek. He understood this as a businessman that dealt with these entities and these corporations that he knew was a puff of smoke. So the other thing too is once these predatory corporations like Texaco and Chevron and these insurance companies, because all of them go in and they take over the financial establishment of that country. Okay. And so you have to play ball. You don't have a choice at this point. Okay. And these are called transnational corporations. Okay. And the indigenous corporations are replaced in their own lands. They cannot play ball with these transnational corporations that are aligned with the IMF, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve. They cannot, because anytime somebody has three things that they can do. They can create the money, They can give the money its intrinsic value, and then they have the power to change the exchange rate and value of that money. So that puts you in a situation where, you know, you're dealing with the devil. This is why so many of our people that we look at it as celebrities and stuff, they're in this position. Okay, because they have failed to invest in real commodities. And they think they're having this paper money, that this gives them some type of strength or value, but it doesn't. Okay, so as I said, the World Bank was actually created, okay, to help decrease poverty around the world. But it did the exact opposite. Excuse me. It increased poverty, okay, worldwide. And who benefits from this? The corporate profits soared as a result. When we look back over the last just 50 years, the amount of profit that has been made by corporate entities is staggering. Okay, I'm going to give a statistic here to help support this. In 1960, the income gap with 1/5 of the richest countries in the world to 1/5 of the poorest countries was 30-1. That is an astronomical income gap. However, in 1998, it doubled and it ballooned to 74-1. Okay. Now this is unimaginable, because we know that with these type of statistics that we have people of color in perpetual slavery around the globe. Okay. This is a evil economic slavery driven system that has put Black and brown people around the globe in a no-win situation. I hate to say it like that again, but this is the reality of the situation. But we do have the ability to change this, and we're going to talk about this when we get into the fear of a black planet. So we see this huge income gap. So again, the U.S. holds the veto power over all foreign banks using the dollar. Okay, so no matter, even if you try to say, I'm going to connect with another individual and be stronger, if these countries try to do that. This is behind the alignment that you see, the chess game being played on the world stage. And I think Africa, not think, I know that African leaders are making very smart decisions now when it comes to this. Okay. So we see that the GNP in 1970 to 1985 worldwide, there was a 17% increase in the poverty rate. And there was a 40% of the increase in profits for corporations. Between 1985 and 2000, the majority of the people on the planet lived on $1 a day. Okay, that's and that has increased by 18%. So you see, no matter, you know, when we're sitting back in our ivory towers and we're looking at the world and, you know, riding around in Lamborghinis and stuff like that. And again, I don't have anything against people buying what they want, doing what they want with their money. They work hard. They deserve it if they want. What I have a problem with is using this as the standard of success when it's not. It's a devalued asset. And this is something that we got to wrap our heads around, that these people have been playing this game with us for a long time. We don't own anything of value. We only own fiat or counterfeit currency. Okay, so what happened was, okay, so this is a very important statistics that I want the family to get. This is so critical. Again, United States corporations and these transnational corporations that they are aligned with, okay, through these other groups, okay, that these are nations. When they look at them from a financial standpoint, they are nations. I'm going to prove this to you. The top 100 economies or nations in the world are corporations. You imagine that. The top 100 economies in the world or nations are corporations. 50 no, I'm sorry. Out of the top 100 economies in the world, 51 or half of them, excuse me, are corporations. I knew that couldn't be right. That just didn't sound right. But get this, out of those 51 corporations whose economies are tops in the world, 47 of those are U.S. corporations. So you see, this materialistic game that they're playing with us is just going to leave us holding this bag of nuts that only squirrels want. Okay, because and you know, I don't know why we refuse to look at it. It's like we just keep getting up every day, going on. We're not doing like these people, meeting behind closed doors and dealing with this true beast. Okay, and when this hits, it's going to be devastating, just not for black people, but for brown people. But the difference is, okay, and I know a lot of Latino people, okay, lived around them, been around them. They planning. Okay, they have things in line. Okay, I talk to them every day. The thing I can't understand about our people is why do you not have the same urgency? Okay, you know, the thing is, well, people like Lance are constantly bringing this information to us, and his wife and other people on the platform and in the chat room that you guys are talking about. We know this stuff. Our problem is, and I'm going to explain this in terms of energy. Okay, so you go into your house and the electricity is off, and you look at, you know, all of the different components that are supposed to be, you know, connected together for the electricity to work. But then you discover that the ground wire is not connected. And that ground wire is actions. So you're not going to have no electricity without that ground wire. So we have not connected our ground wire. Okay, and you also look at this in nature, okay, at the subatomic level, where you have electrons, protons, but you have to have that neutron. Those neutrons, you have to have that, okay, because of the law of polarity. But when we don't act, then the lights stay off. And this is the point that we're missing, that we have to act. It has nothing to do with how much you like me or Lance, okay, or any of the people in the chat room, or any of the people, you know, on the platform. It has nothing to do. See, we're still caught up into this 2-year-old mentality, okay, and we're going to get snowed under, because the other side of this, which I'll talk about a little later, is we're dealing with very evil people, pedophiles, and these people that when our children are caught in this situation where they have to have this counterfeit money, they'll do almost anything to get it. And see, At some point, we got to come to grips with this as guardians of the planet. And that's why I say that we are under judgment too. Okay, because we're not taking our rightful place. We've been following these people for all of these centuries. We are their biggest procrastinators. We are their biggest proponents of their system. I better stop talking like I'm so intelligent and just say what I'm trying to say. We are the biggest ones that perpetuate their system. Okay, we are. We are their biggest.
Let it flow. Let it hang out.
Yes, sir.
Don't.
Okay. We are their biggest consumers. We know this. This is undisputable. We are their biggest religious people. In other words, we are the ones that have the biggest belief and faith in their religions. We are. We are the ones that give life to all of these systems and institutions that they have. We give life to this. We are the ones that, okay, I'll give an example. If an NBA player gets a contract for $200 million, how much you think that person is generating, that one person? So, you look at a team of 15 brothers. Do you know how much money they are producing? Sure, I'll give you $200 million over a certain period of time when I've made almost $1 trillion. See, the other thing too is we look at things from the bottom up instead of the top down. Okay, if you have somebody that's willing to give you, I remember one of the guys that, and I don't have admiration for very many people that are in that industry, but this particular guy, I'm not going to call his name, I have a lot of respect for him because he said way back in the day when he first started out, and people might be familiar with who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to call people's names here on Lance's channel, that he was offered $1 million and he turned it down. And at the time, they were poor, like the majority of us. Okay. And he said on the way back home, his brother was asking him, why did you do that? That's crazy. And he's told him, he said, if they are willing to pay me $1 million, okay, think about how much I am worth. Okay. And this is the other thing that our people, Lance, I believe you did a show on knowing your self-worth. This is the other thing. When you negotiate with these beasts, you have to negotiate from a position of power. That's all they respect. And because we don't unify and build, we can't negotiate from a position of power. Again, you cannot pull yourself up by your bootstraps, okay? So you need to get that out of your head. The biggest strength we have is the people that we're talking with now. Now, all of us are communicating. This is our strength. And this is the only way you can go to this slave system, okay, and present anything to them. And this is why I want to go back to this. This is why we can't have these people that they have put up here talking about they are going to come up with some recommendations for reparations. No, put that vote to black people, okay? We don't want, see, they always giving us so-called leaders who are not really working in our interests. They're not. Because if they say that, I'm just pulling out a number out of my head. If they say they want to give every black person $1 million, that means you're worth 20 billion. Okay? So you have to look at the reality of what's happening. So what's going to happen is they're going to pay these coons off to sell our people out. They're going to go buy a couple of mansions, maybe 5 or 10 cars, and they're going to be satisfied with selling out their people. We don't want to do it that way. In fact, 75% of the compensation needs to be, if not in land, then in some type of commodity. So if they want to give us a portfolio of Chevron, where we have stocks in Chevron, or we have some diamonds, stock portfolio with diamonds and oil, or gold and silver, okay, that's fine. Because these are things with intrinsic value. This is another reason why they don't want us trading with people outside the US, okay? Because when you have real commodities, you can do business. Okay, if you might, what do they call it? You can go with your American Express card all you want. But the chances are that if you don't have no real commodity to trade, it's hard for you to do. A friend of mine years ago taught me this. He was in the import-export business. And he found out how they clipped him. And he said, Neil, I'll never do that again without making sure that I have commodities, not dollars. Because on every transaction, he was losing. And he was telling me how, that only happened when it was, when he had to get products from America. So what he started doing is getting his products from other countries. And that's when he came up. So you're in a game, man, a game that's designed for you to lose. Okay, these people don't care anything about you, your children. I don't care what they tell you. And if we don't do for self, we're going to be, you talking about heaven and hell. No, heaven and hell is right here on this earth. And you're going to create a hell for yourself that you think you're seeing demons now. Okay. But these demons that you're getting ready to see is going to be beyond your wildest imagination. Because our people going to, okay, because our people going to be out here kicking in people's doors, doing all kinds. When there's a scarcity of food, I think, Lance, I told you I had this dream. It was so vivid, I woke up sweating in the middle of the night, where our people, because they don't grow food like your wife is trying to teach us, that they went to these grocery stores and they had these raised soldiers standing in front of them with AR-15s. Our people couldn't even, they said, your money is no good. Okay. And I believe, yeah, they was like, no, your money is no good. Okay. I think in the Bible, they talk about the system as well. Okay. So there are some things that I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Listen, okay. The thing you have to understand is no matter what you read, it's based on how you comprehend it. Okay. You can take anything and apply the good side of it, and then you can apply the bad side. It's all about here. Okay. So this is what's down the road for our people, because there's going to come a time when this agenda is going to go into full effect. You're not going to be able to get food. And see, I keep my ears and eyes to what's happening in the streets. Okay. These Chinese people have all markets set up. They don't have no stores. So where are they getting this fresh fruit? They got to be growing it somewhere. See, we've been bamboozled. Okay. These stores that we're going in to buy these GMO foods, this is why I love what they did in the African hunt. No, keep your GMOs. We don't want it because this fiat money is attached to it. Okay. Like when you got mangoes growing on trees, you got food being grown in the ground. This is the blueprint that the scurvs have already given us. See, a lot of times we don't give value to our people that's right in front of us. Okay. But we want to look to these demonic systems as the definition of who we are. No, you're not woke yet. You are not woke. I don't care what they tell you. We need to wake the fuck up now, because this system is getting ready. The bottom is getting ready to fall out. And I have studied economists for years, and all of them have said the exact same thing. Now, what makes you think that these people who studied these economic systems, there is none of them, not one, that's painting any type of picture, okay, that's favorable about our economic future? And I know why. I'm looking at it. I know why. So, as I was explaining, and I want to just finish up with the situation and what happened in Ecuador, because this was a prime example of how this system operates and what's going to happen to us. Okay. The world is a business, okay, and it's a business of monopoly. One of the things that happened after 9/11, okay, they created this thing called the War on Terror, which I ain't even gonna talk about that. We already know that that's fake. But it allowed them to give the Defense Department $161.8 billion for this war on terrorism. Okay. And I've yet to see this group of people they're talking about manifest themselves here. The only terrorists I see is domestic terrorism. So I've never seen a terrorist, okay, other than the ones you put on TV, or you say you have at Geronimo Bay or whatever the hell you call it, Guantanamo Bay. How do we know that? So what happened to Ecuador is the World Bank gave them, okay, after the president knew he couldn't fight it, after they assassinated that president, they brought in this new president, you know, to be in line with this system. Then he took a large loan from the IMF, okay, and as a result of this, in 1998, their poverty rate went from 50% to 70%. Now, if you don't know in terms of economics how big that is, you need to go study that. That in itself spelled the end of Ecuador right there. The other thing that happened was their unemployment rate went from 15% to 70%. And this is why you see this great migration from these countries. They did the same thing in Central America. They destabilized the economic foundation of these countries. These people couldn't even, I know some people from there, they said they couldn't even feed themselves and their families. They couldn't even pay, you know, to live. So they didn't have no choice. And then so what happened is, then you have these, this is how they create these warring factions like they did in Sudan. They create these warring factions because people, this is human nature, survival of the fittest, or you know, you have to survive. So then what they turn around is they say, oh, these people are criminals. Really? When the real criminals are the ones that put you in this situation. And so they begin to incarcerate people unjustly because people have to survive. Now, I'm not condoning these actions, but I've been doing my own study on unemployment, contrary to what they believe, for the last 6 months. I don't know how it is in other places, but in California, if you're looking for a job, you have to go through a staffing agency. Okay. This is why so many of our brothers, okay, are unemployed. because the first thing they do is they say, oh, we're going to do a background check on you, when they know they got 80% of our men on paper. This is why this was done. Okay. They know this. So, and like I said, they plan these things 20, 25 years down the road. Okay. So you got all of these unemployed brothers that have to sell whatever they bring to you to sell, whether it's drugs, whether it's stolen products. If you have to decide between you and your children eating, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna sell drugs, or you're gonna do something. Okay, so the real criminals are the ones that creates this system that put our people in this position. You can't get a job if you go to a job to try to get hired, they're just going to refer you to these staffing agencies who discriminate against our people. Well, the algorithms discriminate against our people, because once they get, the social media was a data mining experiment. So they have all the data. They know who you are. They know who your cousins are. They know who your mama is. They know who your daddy is. They know who all your friends are. So they're going to block you. Okay, the first thing they do is, okay, that's a black person. How do we know? Oh, we got the data mining right here. We know who they are. As soon as you put in your social security number, or in many cases now, your zip code. That's all they need, because they know you can't afford to live in the other zip codes. This is the new form of redlining. Okay, this is what they do. This is the game. That's why, again, we have a natural enemy, okay? And our people have got to accept this. You can kumbaya with these people and do all you want to, okay? These people are after our children, okay? And for some reason, you keep thinking that they're going to have a change of heart when there's no heart to change. Okay? So I made up in my mind that I had to talk to you like this today. I don't care about people getting mad at me or any of that. You have to come into the reality that you have a common enemy. You are natural, and there is an unnatural enemy. Okay, nature teaches us this. So if you want to go against the creator-creatrix system, then that's on you. I'm not willing to do that. So the other thing that happened is, like I was saying, and this is what sank Ecuador. And I remember talking to a guy I know from that region of the world. And he was saying that it got so bad there that, people were just out in the streets trying to do whatever they could to try to survive. And that it was gut-wrenching for them, and that they never recovered. But this is why. Because the public debt in Ecuador increased from, get this, 240 million to $16 billion. Okay, so the other thing that happened is the resources that was allocated to the poor went from 20% to 6%. That is a huge drop. Okay, that's why when you see, like in our country, and they always say, okay, we are giving money to nonprofit organizations or what have you, whatever. That money is not going to no damn nonprofit organizations, at least not in our communities. If it was, we wouldn't see what we see out here in these streets. There are more people, there are a lot of people living in tents here, a lot. And most of these people are working on jobs. I just saw the other day, they had a 4-mile encampment of RVs. These people are homeless. But they give one of my partners that was living at a shelter here, He recently told me that after a year, he's living in an RV because he went through the program, he did, but they have very little money. And these RVs for these shelters where Black and brown people are, they have to rely on private donations. Okay, so and by the year 2000, 50% of Ecuador's budget had to be allocated to paying its debt, just like what they did to Jamaica and Haiti. So you see, this is what's being done to the countries where our people reside. This is not being done in Europe. This is not being done in France. This is not being done in any of these other places. Okay. Now, I'm going to give a reference for what happened and what's happening in the motherland in Africa, because it would literally take us a week here to discuss this. But this book by Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, is a must read for all Black people. You have to read that book. You'll get a clear, Walter Rodney did a fascinating job exposing this beast. And this is a book that should be in every Black home. Okay. They did the exact same thing that I explained about what happened in Ecuador and Venezuela to Africa, but it was done 10 times over. Okay, so now let's move into real terrorism. Okay, let's talk about real terrorism, and let's talk about social terrorism. All right. The number one commodities behind real terrorism and social terrorism that's directed primarily towards our people is drugs and guns. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any of our kids that can fly guns and drugs into this country. In fact, they'd be arrested before they could. So how do you explain the proliferation of guns and drugs in our community instead of corporations? How do you explain that? When you're paying all these taxes, but we don't have any corporations, major corporations where we live. How do you explain that? But we have all these drugs and guns. So we know that there was a CIA operation that was conducted against our people in Southern California that explains this. What's his name was killed over that book he wrote. So we know this. Again, this is a reason why we have to unite. You know, you're out here worrying about, oh, I don't like that nigga right there. Oh, really? Well, let's see what happens when that same individual is going to be your only lifeline. Then what? We have to move beyond this 2-year-old way of thinking. We can no longer afford to do this. Okay, so let's talk about one of the major things that's going on. And like I said, they use our young boys and girls in the U.S. military to carry this out. Okay. Today, opium production in the U.S. controlled Afghanistan, okay, which now provides 90%. Get this. I want you to hear this statistic. I'm going to read this again. Today, opium production in U.S. controlled Afghanistan, which now provides 90% of the world's heroin. Okay, so you can have all these people trying to act like they care about, oh, well, we got to do something about the drugs and but when you producing it, you are producing this. Okay, and this 90% production now in the world has broken new records or continues to break new records of producing death every year. Where are your religious people? Where are the people you do this with? Where are they at? Where are the people that preach to you every Sunday and Wednesday? But do they not know this? See, this is the type of stuff that pisses me off. And then they do the same thing that these beasts do. They smile, oh, hey, sister so-and-so, hey, brother so-and-so. Oh, get out of my face. Okay? These devils are doing this right in your face. They're putting these drugs and guns in our community, okay? But you're up here talking about Peter and Paul. Okay. I'm sick over this. Okay, so poor people around the world are used, okay, in these sweatshops, and a lot of them getting their hands cut off when they don't produce a certain amount of diamonds. And these diamonds, this is still going on today. Okay. A good movie to watch is Blood Diamonds. Also, what is it called? Tears of the Sun. There's another one, but there's another one I can't think of right now, which was actually based on a true story where one of these transnational corporations was using our people in Africa as guinea pigs. What is it called? Something Gardner, or something like that. I'll think of it. Somebody in the chat room might be familiar with what I'm talking about. Okay, so our poor people around the world are used to further the selfish and corrupt creation of wealth and ill-gained riches that are built on greed and corruption. And again, I don't care what they say to you, this system is based on the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. It is competition-based, okay, and it's based on profit over people. So we look at this monetarism, okay, which creates moral perversion, depravity, okay, and so let's look at social terrorism. You have these big corporations like Walmart, okay, that outcompetes the small businesses, which are the backbones of our society, okay, and they force them out of business. That's what this whole you know what thing was about, okay? It was to force small businesses out of business, the ones you and I rely on. Because contrary to what you believe, very few of our people get hired in positions of authority in these major corporations, very few. They might have to meet a quota or something. But the other thing too is, oh, that's going to happen. Thank you, creators. This is what's going to happen, and this is already happening, that AI is going to replace most of the jobs that Black and brown people do. I was watching a show the other day where Amazon is using, they're using these robots to fill the orders that people used to fill. There are something like 3,000 or 4,000 of them. They don't need you no more. So you better start recognizing you're gonna wake up one morning in a whole different world. And I remember a song my mother and those used to sing in church, and a lot of the old people, Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. They sung this song every day. My mom used to sing it around the house. I didn't know what it meant then, but I know what it means now. So the corporate-backed politicians that sell out our people or sell out their constituents are all a part of this too. So Brother Lance, let me take a break real quick. You know, you're better talker than me. I can take a commercial break, a commercial break for about
You
5
have,
minutes.
yeah, do your
Huh?
thing, man. As far as being a better talker, man. See, I talk to get the but you talk. I know my place.
Yes, yes, sir. But I'll be right back. I'll be
Yes.
right back.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna take a bit over here along that.
Okay. And I'm gonna come back with the second part of the presentation.
Yeah, yeah. Take your time, brother. Take your sweet time. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk. Yes.
Okay.
I just want to say I want to thank everybody for being here, and we have a good amount of people here listening. Also, want to let you all know that tonight is the first night that I went live on Rumble, and we only have like 14, 15 people there now. But since the show started, we had almost 200 put their eyes on it, and so we know that over there, if you don't really know, it's a different crowd over there, if you know what I mean, who really might not like the things we say, okay? Especially when you back it up with facts. So already in the chat room over there and in the comment section, there's a couple of people I have to answer, but we're gonna have some fun when we do. You know what I mean? It's I'll kind of like, kind of go in and do my thing, but it will be over there, maybe kind of controversial. What they don't like. Anyway, there's so much that I have to say. I know we have Positively Angela tonight, and after this I'll go live. There's a couple things I want to say. I have another piece that I recorded earlier that I know you'll love, and I've been responding to a lot of the comments in video. Like, say if there's something you wanted me to talk about or spin off on something, I like to go in on my monologues that way. So I want to kind of settle in on how we do it, and we have a good flow going on, and I'm very happy with things the way they're going. The website, for those in the different platforms, even those on Rumble, you're welcome to go there, leave your comments, so we can fight over there at LanceScurv.com, LANCESCURV.com. Okay, so I just wanted everybody to know again that with the conference line, you don't have to wait for me to be there. If you want to go there and chat it up for as long as you want, anytime, 24/7. You know how to get there by that number. And if you, okay, I might put the number up. Let me just flash this over here really quick since we are on a commercial break. And here we go. You want the pen? Here you go. All right. Mr. Scurv said hi to everybody. Oh, okay. That's a short commercial break.
Right. I'm good. I'm good now.
Commercial break, brother. Let me know. I know how it is.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. Right on. But I'm back in full effect.
There you go. I'm right
so,
here.
You wanted to finish what you were saying before I came back?
Well, I was just saying about how to get to the conference line number. I was just going to flash it across the screen really quick.
Okay.
Who want to go on? Let me just get to this.
Okay.
Table is so cluttered. The more work I'm doing, the more cluttered it gets. It's
oh man,
crazy.
you're producing a lot of work. I caught a couple of them this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
that's
the, so go ahead.
Yeah, that's the conference line number. And if you want to get to it anywhere in the world, all you have to do is go to LanceScurv.com, scroll down a little bit until you see that number in the center and push, just click it, and it will take you straight there. You don't have to call. It's not going to give you any long distance charges. It's like visiting a website. So even if you're in the United States and don't want to call, you can just go on and click that number on LanceScurv.com after you scroll down a little bit, and you'll get there. That's the way we're gonna do it. So here we go. We're back, brother. The floor is yours.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for that commercial break. So we're gonna get into the final stage of the presentation, and the one that actually is the headline, The Fear of a Black Planet. Now, again, a lot of times we're taught to think and things in terms of the physicality of it. But the important thing is that we look at it. Remember, we've been taught to live according to a linear consciousness. when we are 360 or 720-degree beings, which has been a very effective weapon against our people because, you know, again, a lot of times, I don't know if it's that we don't want to look at other things, but we have the capacity to look at all things. Um, so in the fear of a black planet, a couple of things come into play. One is, and the most important thing is, that now you have this natural versus unnatural dynamic, or you have the law of polarity, which is positive and negative. Okay, so with the black consciousness, this is what they fear the most. Not only genetic annihilation, but also psychological annihilation, because no matter how you try to slice and dice this, black people, we think differently. The only reason, and we were talking about, laughing about this the last time, about what Dave Chappelle said with the double consciousness, that, we know how to move in and out of different situations. Okay, we had to be able to master that in order, because an alien can come down here and say, how in the world did these people survive this for this long? How, every black woman, man, and child you see walking is a miracle. Okay, because now at the esoteric level, the attacks that were used has failed. Okay, so they know it has failed. They know who we are. They know that from crack to everything you can think of that was used to destroy our communities has failed. Okay, so now when we talk about the fear of a black planet, we're talking about the fear of a black consciousness. Okay, because a black consciousness by nature cares about resources, about people. Okay, we have a sun mentality instead of an ice mentality. Okay, with a sun mentality, we look to grow things. Okay, we follow nature like our ancestors did. But this system will mean the death of the other system, because that is an unnatural system. Okay, that's a system that's based on weeds, not seeds. Okay, and they fear this black consciousness because once you get 92% of the people on the planet thinking the same way, I remember something John Henry Clark said. He said, if you get 2-3 billion people on a planet with doing something and moving in one direction, even if it's wrong, it's going to fundamentally change the world. And this is why you see a lot of times, that people, all of us benefit from the nourishment of the sun. Okay, all of us benefit from the water, the rain that comes down. All of us benefit from that. However, all of us are not working towards keeping nature as the primary root of how we function every day. Okay, or as Dr. Blair said, being in alignment with nature and living in nature. So I want to give before I go into the text, I want to give a definition of what I mean from a energy standpoint, okay, and a biochemical standpoint. So we are not just in a physical warfare. Matter of fact, the physical warfare is probably just 1/10 of the actual warfare we're fighting. This warfare, okay, this is why with the GMOs, the water, all of this stuff that they're doing to try to destroy our people is now backfiring on them. But think of it this way. In an unnatural system, okay, you have germs, you have bacteria, you have viruses, you have parasites, okay? And all of these things, you know, they can tear, okay? Sometimes they can do the opposite, but primarily that's what they're for, like cancer. But you are a T cell, and that T cell is put there at that biochemical level to destroy all of those things that are trying to destroy you. Okay? And this power we have, they know we have because they have studied us. And they know, I don't care if you try to block the sun or whatever you try to do, we know what's going to happen eventually. So, what the game plan is, by the time this is in full blown manifestation, hopefully you'll be in such economic slavery that you can't do anything to affect what they're doing. And I see how they're going to do it through technology. Because you might think that, yeah, no, I don't want to, again, I have to be careful because I don't want you to, for this to sound like I'm being pessimistic. But the reality is we have to deal with truth. Okay, we have to do that. Okay, and the truth of the matter is that if we have to have people that are learning coding, because now our children, all of our children, if you see a 3-year-old, they got these devices in their hands like this. Okay, so we've gotten to a point where we either got to control and I don't care how much you try to put in these parenting blocks or all this stuff, that is not going to stop this energy that's coming at them, this pedophilia energy. Okay, it's prevalent in this unnatural system. The other thing about the fear of a black planet and black consciousness is that we see at our core, in our chakras, we operate off of Mayan law: truth, justice, and righteousness and balance. And these are things that they don't have at their core. But I have to give them credit that they do a good job of making you, taking what's inside of you and making you think that this is something they champion, when we know, again, through nature, if I'm looking at a mango tree, I'm not going to say I'm going to get an orange off that tree. That ain't going to happen. Or an apple. So you're looking at the fruits, but yet you still think a mango is going to come from that tree when it's a tree full of rotten out apples with worms in it. Well, you might go and eat the apple. That's what they want you to do. Okay, so as the original people on the planet, we can't forget this, okay? We can't forget that no matter what happens, okay, we're always going to be a target. Because once we, and I was reading Sheikh Anta Diop, or Jop, however you want to pronounce it, because he, you know, it's French, or he uses the French language. So, but I use the English version, which is Diop. So I don't like to mispronounce somebody's name. Okay, because we get caught up in little things like that, you know. Oh, it's joke, not Diop. And I want to go on the record is from now on, I'm going to use the word black exclusively. You can use all these other terms you want to or whatever. But when I use black, I'm talking about our people. So you can, however that makes sense to you, that's fine. I don't get caught up into that nonsense. We know when we say black, we know what we're talking about. So the thing that Sheikh Anta Diop told us and taught us was that we have the oldest DNA on this planet. So that automatically puts us in a position that is aligned with the natural creators of the universe. It automatically does this. What it also does is it puts us in line, in direct line of the principles that govern us here on the planet, that the creator, the divine laws, gave us. And see, they can't live, what you're looking at is a carbon copy of us in terms of using what's in our nature and trying to create another narrative with it. Okay. But when you go back to your original selves, okay, when you go back to your original selves, okay, then this is when you begin to see, okay, the divine laws of nature. So this fear of a black planet comes from the fact that we operate off of these laws. Okay, the law of divine oneness, we're all connected. Okay, we know this. Okay, the divine law of gestation, which is divine timing, which we're living in now. Okay, and why they recognize that this Titanic is sinking. Okay, because we're moving into uh, a time when now all things are going to come full circle. Okay, and some of the people that study astronomy and astrology, and astrology is just their takeoff and narrative. I should say numerology. Okay, we know that this time is here. Okay, so once we align ourselves with this Nibiru force, like Lance, then we have a clear picture of where we're headed, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. Okay, there is no more gray areas. Okay, and the number one thing they're afraid of that they already know is that the Netaru are being released. Okay, and they know they can't stop it. They try to duplicate it with the heart machine, but that ain't nothing compared to the power of nature. And so in all of these areas now, they are afraid. So they create this methodology about terrorists and all of this. Now, it may be some, but the terrorists that we're facing is here. Okay. I don't know about anywhere else. But of course, they are trying to export this perversion to the motherland. Okay. And so they're going to be using all of these different things, okay, to come at us now. And this is why we have to be strong and vigilant, okay? And we have to be aware of what's going on. But more importantly, we have to look at how we can unite with each other on some type of common ground. Again, you don't have to agree with everything a person, and see, this is what this religion that they use against our people does, and our brown brothers and sisters. It divides you. I believe it's over 35,000 different denominations. So you say a brother that's practicing, say, Islam, and you're a Christian, then now you can't unite with them because somebody done told you that they were worshiping the devil. Or you see somebody within your own religion that may be a Methodist or whatever, or a Catholic or whatever. See, we have to get out of this business of narrating how people function. Okay, we have to get out of that. Is not our job. I don't care what you believe in, as long as you know that we have to unite against this beast, okay, for us and our children to overcome this. You can worship the Dalai Lama if you want to. Okay, and you saw what he did. So we are
around him.
Huh?
Can't bring your little boys around him.
You better not. Okay, you can run up there and tell about there's the Dalai Lama or whatever the hell his name, Dalai Lama, all you want. He's part of that ring,
exactly,
that global ring. Yeah, I mean, Because the truth of the matter is, okay, so melanin pills, okay, is the largest production of pills. And where do you think they're getting all this melanin from? Where do you think they're getting this from? So we have to have an open eye. This is why, okay, when you read The Art of War, the number one thing is you have to know and identify the enemy. Okay? You have to do this. And we have an open enemy. So you can, however that you want to play with that, I ain't got nothing to do with that. It's just that we're at a point right now, okay, where we have to come to grips with reality. Okay, so again, going back to the fact that you're the original people of the cosmos. So now here's the other thing. All these aliens they talking about and all this stuff they talking, these are our people. And they are here. Okay. They know they're here. They've been here. They're not going to be able to hide this any longer. Okay. They're here. So you're connected to that. They know this. Some of these people are blacker than anybody you ever seen. I remember seeing, I don't know, Lance, maybe you or some of the people in the chat have seen this before. I was watching this show where this NASA scientist was saying that he had seen one of the ships that supposedly went out of lower Earth orbit. Okay, and they encountered these beings. That's why I believe they're afraid to try to go anywhere now. So, not that they have ever been anywhere, they're afraid to go out of lower Earth orbit, put it that way. So, he said, this lady was interviewing him, and he said, well, they have video on board this Apollo ship this that shows these 8 and 9 foot aliens that were black. And she said, oh, you mean they were like dark brown or something? She said. He said, no, they were black. Okay, like the sky at night. And boy, they cut that real quick. Boom, they cut the feed. And so these are our people. They know this. We're connected to them. This is what they're trying to block. That's why they're trying to get you hooked on this fiat currency. Okay, when we should be dealing with crystals, we should be dealing with natural things. Okay, we have to walk away from this system and not wait until it crashes. Because when it crashes, then because we don't own anything, we're not going to be able to build. Okay, so moving forward, I explained to you about on the warfare on the biochemical level, but what karma is, natural karma, okay, or divine retribution, is the absolute results or consequences of an absolute action. Absolutely. So there's no in between here. When you violate the natural laws of the creator creative spirit, then there is a natural karma that comes as a result of it. And that's why these people are under judgment. Okay, because they can never atone for what has been done to our people, to the original people of the planet. Okay. The mental attributes that we have cannot be matched. Okay, it's a higher consciousness like the butterfly, whereas they operate on the lower attributes or lower consciousness. This is why they keep your mind in the gutter all the time, and this is why you get more hits on YouTube. And when I say gutter, I'm talking about things that can harm people, like jealousy, being envious of somebody, this type of thing. okay, degrading our women. These are the things that they do in order to keep you in this state of mind because they don't want you connecting with your higher consciousness because the Neteru is trying to communicate with you right now, but they can't communicate with you because you have blocked, okay, these uploads have blocked you from the download. So something I finally came to understand when I was trying to deal with how thoughts are created. But believe it or not, thoughts are all around us. It's the thoughts that you're downloading, okay, that matters. And those thoughts that you are downloaded um, are either positive or negative. That's why when you have a group of negative people, okay, it's looked at in terms of what I was saying earlier as a germ. Okay, it's looked at in terms of a virus, a parasite, or a cancer. But when you have a group of positive people around you, it's looked at as a T cell, which can devour all of these things that come against you. Okay, so when we return to this again, this is one of their biggest fears. Okay, of a black planet. Their fear is that our level of consciousness will now move into the realm where it's connected with this great force. Okay, and we're no longer, and this is why they keep you from having land or any ancestral value, because they know as long as they have you stuck on this fiat currency, that you don't have no power against them. Okay, your power comes from nature, the things that nature uh, has created in order for it to have value. Only the creator can give something value. Man can't give something that. This is where they have tricked you. Okay, so when I say that there's a fear of a black planet, there's a fear of a black consciousness. Because when you walk away from all this foolishness and this nonsense, things are going to change. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, right. So the Olmec consciousness is the original consciousness on the planet. Okay. So before there was anything else, there was the black consciousness. Okay. We know this. This cannot be disputed. And when this consciousness existed amongst our people, things flourished on the earth. There were no pollutions. We didn't have to worry about drinking poison water. We didn't have to worry about GMOs. All of this was created by people who had no knowledge of farming. Okay. And so every time they get the knowledge of something from us, they corrupt it. So instead of growing natural foods now, they grow unnatural foods. So you see what I'm saying? This is what they're afraid of because they will not survive in the consciousness of a black planet. They'll only be able to survive with this system that's in place that keeps them with an upper hand. So you were originally thought of as L, which means that you are light beings, okay, and that your melanin allowed you to be a mental being with a physical experience. Okay, so this is another area that we're cut off at. You could even have you had the power to bend light. There were some amazing things I was reading about our people that our ancestors that they had the power to do. Some of our shamans, they could do amazing things. Okay, you're a pure mind. Okay, and so let's get to the last part of this that's very critical to show you ultimately, okay, why there has to be a separation. Because integration, contrary to what you believe, doesn't benefit us as much as it does them. Okay, so in our original concepts, when we were connected to nature, and we still are, okay, we still are connected to nature, we just don't act on it. But these were the concepts that we lived by, okay, and this is why, oh, so in religion, they tell you that a woman was taken from the rib of a man. That is the biggest lie ever told, okay? And the reason for that is that when we look at nature and the zygote, that the X chromosome is dominant, okay? The Y chromosome emerges when testosterone is starting to excrete. So how is it that in nature, in anybody that don't believe this, show me somebody other than a transhuman or clone that doesn't have a navel and an umbilical cord. Okay, so this lie, and I'm going to tell you why this lie was told. Okay, so the female or the creatrix energy is the is very important because of the magnetism and fertility, these powers that's associated with this feminine energy. That's why they're trying to destroy it. That's why they took it out of what is the Holy Ghost? All I've seen is unholy ghosts. Okay, I've seen plenty of them. But this is why the creatrix spirit was removed. And this is what they fear the most, is that you go back to this original teaching, because then they lose their power over our children. And you'd be astonished at what they're teaching our children. I mean, I don't even like to think about it. Okay, but the concepts that we live by as Black people was male, female, and this is why I said we operated and lived according to the laws of the universe, and the law of polarity in particular. Male, female, electromagnetism. We see this energy throughout, okay, the planet and in the celestial sphere. King and queen, God and goddess. These were the divine concepts that we lived by, okay? The law of correspondence, as above, so below, within, as within, so without. We lived according to law of divine gestation. We knew that when we planted the crops, we were going to have a big harvest at the time when the star appeared in the sky. Okay. So we knew this. Okay. We knew that the divine law of relativity or testing, and we didn't get so angry at each other because we knew that we were being tested. Okay. So that we can become stronger. So whenever we had to face a damn lion or a bear, not no Tarzan, okay, when we had to face them, then we knew that this was a test. Not no Tarzan swinging through no jungle, because that never happened. We also lived according, as I said earlier, according to the Me'atan laws of truth, justice, balance, and righteousness. Okay. And we worship the creator creative spirit. There was no separation. And if you go to Kemet to this day, you still see. And so what they did here was when they copied the statutes of the god goddess, okay, then they still made it in a misogynistic form where you just have Abraham Lincoln with no goddess, no queen, no nothing. You just had him there, okay, perpetrating or what they stole, this concept they stole from our people, but still eliminating the female. And you have to understand that everything they do, okay, is to destroy what's inside of you. So this is why they took her out, why they took a set out of the Trinity. So they say, you know, the unholy ghost is what they use. Okay, so Also, the law of germination. Okay, we understood this principle. We knew that you had to plant seeds in the ground. Again, we were natural farmers and astronomers. They didn't have this knowledge. Okay, uh, we understood manifestation because we saw the manifestation of everything around us in nature. And then we also operated off of vibration. We didn't, we didn't have all these different ways of communicating with each other the way we do now, which is based on deception. That's why so much jealousy amongst us. Okay, we vibrated with each other. So whatever your vibration was, we vibrated together as long as we were on the same, frequency. And this is a part of nature. And then finally, the law of attraction. Okay, so we were able to attract things because we live in a universe of abundance. And this was also cut off. Okay, and they understood these principles. I often talk about the book Things Fall Apart, how they saw this system that we use, and so they cut off that system. They took control of the storehouses, the seeds, and now they were rationing out seeds. They created this characteristics of scarcity, and this is how they build up their profits. So let's look at the characteristics of the unnatural seed and the system that we're fighting against. Okay, their concepts are really narratives. They're not concepts. Okay, you have to have an open pineal gland to have a concept of something. But these narratives are created from stories. They're just stories that are created from a concept that they looked at and said, aha, this is what it should be, and then convince you that this is what it should be. The characteristics is propaganda, which basically is a group of lies, okay, that's put together and targeted towards an individual, a group of individuals, or even in our case, a whole culture of people. Okay. Also, this concept of male dominance and female submission. When we know that, and this is why they have a lot of our brothers. I ain't even gonna talk about that. Basically, this system of patriarchal rule. Okay, there's a reason for that. Because remember now, it's not just the physical, but it's the psychological and the spiritual attacks that they're using as well. So when they separate the creator creatrix, electromagnetism, fertile soil from you, then they are directly striking and attacking one of our major concepts, or one of our major divine principles or laws, when they cut out Dagnesh. Okay, so we know that this was done to dilute our power, because I don't care what nobody say, and I can speak from experience. I've been alone for a long time, that it's better for a man to have a woman, okay, but it's got to be the right one. So they attack this power because they know this is at the seat of our power. Okay. The other thing is this fiat money is their God. Now, I don't care what you say. That's why when you go to their altars, you got to put money on those altars. See what happened, and I haven't been in one of these churches in a long time, but I remember how they make you feel when you don't put no money in that basket. Or they call up and say, well, everybody that's got $100, well, now they just asking for $1,000, I guess. I saw one of these shows where this preacher pastor was asking for $1,000. And so all the other people, this immediately puts you on top of your brothers and sisters. You sitting there want to go in the seat, and you up on their altar putting this so-called money. It's just a form of demonic worship. Okay, and you can get mad at me all you want. This is what it is. Okay, we're saying for what it is. Okay, so this is where this so-called money is a god to them. If you don't believe it, look on that bill and see. Okay, so also slavery, profit, and global economic oppression. Now, this global economic oppression could not take place without religion, because that could never take place. Also, some of the other results of this unnatural energy, okay, is hate, destruction, moral and ethical decay, erosion of social programs, depression, manipulation, oppressive laws, corruption, crime, incarceration, murder, unequal distribution of wealth, out of control crime that they are perpetuating. And then the big one, the last three, which is really their real trinity, is pedophilia, transhumanism, and transgender. And with that, brother, I'm done. I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you'll pause for a week, but the work is never done. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. It's never done.
And the more we polish off our cerebral with this knowledge, let it saturate on in, man, it's wonderful. And even in the chat room, it's just phenomenal. The knowledge being dropped there. I got to go back. I've been multitasking right here, but I've just been kind of multitasking as I'm trying to ramp things up a little more, becoming more efficient, more aerodynamic in how I push out content, you know.
Man, you're very fortunate, brother. I mean, you have real people supporting you. Some of those people in the chat room are some of the most brilliant people. And you know, again, I don't like to call names. They got us in that mode. And you know, it's good to recognize people. But again, all of the people in the chat room, I have tremendous love for, because one of the things is we need each other. I don't care what nobody tell you. We need each other. That's men, women, and children. So, and as a nation within a nation who's been under attack for 500 years in this country, well, longer than that, but the 500 years that they came here. So if we don't start doing some specific things, we're going to have some issues. And what I'm going to do, I came prepared.
What in the heck happened? I was muted. Brother, I'm gonna wait for him to pop back in. I want to get my light right. That's why this looks fuzzy. And I hope he knows that he's off. Let me contact him. I know he'll come back. All right. Hold tight, everybody. I'm over here multitasking like crazy. There's so much good knowledge being dropped in the room there. And it is so hot. And I got all these lights on me. I got one right here. See? Gotta move that over. But I'm gonna come on probably at 10 o'clock with a freestyle. Then we do Positively Angela. And then after that, I have something of a monologue type treat to put up. Let me see. Is this him? Sorry about that. I made some kind of mistake. But I can't see the button I hit. I don't think, you know. Okay, good. Here he is. I don't know what happened. Brother, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I hit a button, realize. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, that's all right, brother. Okay. I mean, you know, I'm amazed at your ability to produce and navigate all this stuff. You know, I'm like, okay, because I know I can't do it.
People don't realize this. Let me just show folks the amount of lights around here. Boom, boom. computers, lights, all kind of thing.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a full-fledged production, huh?
And this is a temporary setup. Let me get this camera right.
Oh, wow.
When I get up in that house, it's on and
Uh-huh.
popping. They got a huge,
Wow.
nice, everything I have is placed, won't be as junky. I got all some of my cameras here, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I love it though.
Wow. Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
work ever done. You know, it's
Yes.
always something.
Yes.
So I'm in my element.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, brother. And so I guess we're waiting to see if anybody want to come in the chat, come from the chat room and talk with us.
Let me drop the link here.
Okay.
And most of my stuff, you got to realize, is packed away. So this is like the baby version of stuff.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
The main thing, people see that, but they don't understand the amount of wires that, you know, I just can't wait to put everything permanent.
Right.
You know, so everything has its place and spread out, not so jumbled up, because I guess they're in an apartment now until the house is done. So when that is done,
okay,
very soon,
okay,
you know, and I have area, it is on and popping. It is on and there's gonna be more content. Right. Yeah, it's burning me. Yeah, I'm 60. We smashing it now for real. I gotta, you know.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, more content. That is very impressive, brother.
Quality stuff.
Very impressive.
I'm trying to learn so many things to make it streamlined and make it easy to push out more stuff. And I'm just excited. I just want to thank everybody for their support. And it just means a lot to me. And so I could really, all the things I thought about when I was young, all the things that I had to endure that may have been negative when I was younger in America, and the things I learned, and put it in perspective, and then use the artistic ability, the creative stuff. It's like I tell the creator, I said, listen, you can't take me no time soon. I got too much to do, you know? So
right.
But I want more raw. I want to be, and just now I found out how to do the thing on Rumble. I'm going to give a call to Irritated Genie. We don't have anything to do with YouTube with that. So we can put it right on the site like we did before. They give me no problems. And it's
so coming. You said you're using a different search engine, or using a different platform?
I mean, when we go live on my 2 Facebook pages. I might think about making a Facebook group, a Twitter page, a Twitch page. What else? LinkedIn, we're live on now. But there's a way of using the stream key and getting on with Rumble. And soon I'll be able to, maybe a couple weeks, do StreamYard Live all simultaneously right now. It's not just here on YouTube, but the Rumble is important because, you know, you want to reach.
Yeah, I heard about Rumble.
Yeah. But it's not mostly us over there, right? But it's important that we put those right in there for certain reasons. You know what I mean? If that platform is what they say it is, they'll have no problem because we all speak our truth. But I want to permeate and reach into markets and areas and people that most people don't reach. While everybody is over there, I have some stuff over there, but I want to be over there too. I want to be up here. I want to be, you know, there's smaller platforms, platforms that most people don't know about, and most people won't know about because they're so small and they have some that are bigger. We know the bigger ones in different countries. Yeah. And having them relate and talk to each other and build more. You know, I'm on SoundCloud.
So why is it that we can't? Why is it? Okay, so I often hear people say, and I hear you say this, that we don't own these platforms. I get that part of it.
Right.
Well, what is it that's preventing us from establishing our own? Is it the money? Is it, you know, what exactly is it?
I'd say 3 things: money, unity, and the tech mind. We have the minds.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Any
coding. You mean like coding? You mean like coding? You mean like coding?
Oh yeah, that and beyond. But I mean, just to have YouTube, they got to get credit. I mean, their servers, their ability to I mean, that is like, there's so much. I forgot how much every video are uploaded, but it's a tremendous amount. And they have the capability, they have the storage space, they have things. There was one very small company that I have to search out. I lost contact with them, and they put up their own stuff, but they were much smaller. So they only wanted to keep certain types of content and not foolishness. But it's huge and it's big business. And that alone, if we had our own, with the money we spend in America alone, right, that everybody else benefits from, because we're such big consumers. They talk so bad about it, but you know, we do have the muscle, but it's misdirected. It's almost like that enslaved individual when slavery was around, and the slave master look around and say, I bet you can't lift that big thing over there and move it over. Oh, yes, I can. Well, he's using his muscle for somebody else's benefit. So
I got
really decided to come together, and like I said, I'm tired of saying that, because it's going to take a lapse in sense of urgency for us to do so. And why so late in the game? Why can't we see it? I learned some things today that blew my mind, and I'm going to share them on another show about where we stand economically and the professions we go after. We're focused on the wrong thing. Certain narratives, absolutely. We're so off in what we're focusing on, and I want to find the graphs and everything so I can prove it, so you can see it. Or some things that happen. And this thing called protesting, never again. The energy we put into protesting is what we should put into our unity.
Exactly.
We can't expect
misdirected energy.
Right. Protest what? Who else is protesting?
It's already done. Yeah, they haven't changed this. How's that going to change anything?
Exactly.
No. Yeah, you know, it's almost like that's something that we do because we're afraid to do what we need to do. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. Because
trust and believe, I mean, Lance, it's some people, that's why, like I said, I learned so much living in California, because a lot of people can't even speak English. but trust and believe, it's 100 of them together.
Yeah.
It's 100 of them together working for and if all of them have to live in one house, that's what they're going to do.
Right.
They tell us,
exactly.
No, go ahead, brother.
No, but without even having to speak English, whatever.
Without even having to speak English.
Right. You can do anything that you set your mind to do. You can do anything. Why don't we think this way? Well, we were brought up in America. We were brought up to be subservient, to be a worker, to have a worker mentality. Just like you see a circle behind me, right? We're only taught to certain, you know, it's just like, okay, the list that I saw, and I can't remember everything, but in America, the top earners, and this reflects on the world also, and the top earners, we're not saying they have the most money overall, but the top people in America are Indians. They're in tech. Behind that, Taiwan, countries, but people who live there, Taiwan, China, Korea, Japan, all of these are the top people. Now, again, it doesn't have more money than, say, Caucasians, but here's the funny thing. The Caucasian population was on the bottom, and we're below them. But what makes it a shame that they're on the bottom, and I'm not saying it's a shame because I want them to be over me or anything like that, you know, but we need to change our perception. Bad. They're on the bottom. We know we are on the bottom of them because we know our total numbers are less in America, even though it's more than what they say, because American Africans who are there, there's some from the Caribbean who are there also, who would swell up the numbers, but they always like to say 13, 14%. So if we're 13, 14% below the Caucasians, and they're the dominant people in the country for now.
Their system,
allocated to, right? Why is it the people over them are over them?
Well, see, okay, that's a good point you just brought up. You know why? Because see, because we trust the information they give us so much, not knowing that they are bamboozling us.
Exactly.
The Asian now, those bonds I was talking about. So how they create money is the government will go to them and say, okay, we have $10 million in bonds. Just pull in a figure, and then the Federal Reserve, they take those bonds, okay, which is basically an IOU, and they create this fiat paper and give it to the government. The government put it in the bank and it becomes a reserve, and then they multiply it. Right. But what most people don't know, well, most black people don't know, and brown people, is that these bonds, most of these bonds now are owned by Asian countries. They are the ones, they have us by the balls. So the same game that I had, what Walter Rodney was talking about, and what I was talking about today, what they did to Ecuador and Venezuela, now this game is being turned back on them because the Chinese, and this is what I was saying that Trump understood, they own these bonds, and these bonds, let's say they say, okay, we want to cash in some of these bonds. I remember way back when I first got some government EE bonds, this was in the 80s, these bonds, the government was selling to people, but they also sell them to other governments. And that's why China, this is why they are, what you were talking about, in the position they are in, and why now the Europeans are under them, because they hold these bonds. And trust and believe, if they want to destabilize this country, they can do it. All they got to do is devaluate the dollar.
And when
that's all they got to do.
And when you look at education, and it's all of America, more or less, you know, like whatever, but we're missing the mark because we're not prepared for the future. I mean, when you look at the amount of service that many of us as parents send our children off to do, and they're being automated now, what skill set do they have? With America now being turned into a service-oriented country, where others who have the tech skills can take their skills and go anywhere with it, because it's not the overwhelming amount of people who know what these people know. So they're marketable anyway. They can pick up and go to the country as a digital nomad anywhere and make money. But if you're employed, not knocking anybody's employment, because we can always go up and go into our own thing, but also too, yes, Queen Red Pill in the house. This is going to be a night. Queen Red Pill, welcome.
Yes, how are you?
I know that name.
Can you hear me?
Hello, sister. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so glad you guys took a little break because I had to go to the restroom. let me turn this down. Let me turn, because I hear an echo.
Okay, it's probably because I have
I'm hearing echo.
Okay, let me see if you still hear it. So I always put my headphones over to the side, go ahead.
I'm so excited. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I am so excited. My heart is beating. My God, the knowledge. I still hear the echo. I hear you echo. It could be me. It could be something that I'm doing. Should I mute myself on the side? Is that what it is?
You're on the computer speaking now, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, sir.
You might have to, but you do have a microphone to speak into, correct?
Yes, because you can hear me, but it says mute, because you know I'm not that computer literate, but
yeah.
I'm just looking at what it says at the bottom here.
Yeah, any sound that you have that's coming out of the computer into the room, mute that. As long as you can still.
Let me see. I'm gonna try this. I hope nothing happens.
And if you can't hear us,
moment. Thank you so much. Hold on.
Yeah. If you can't hear us, then turn it back up a little bit, because I think I took care of that muting, that problem we had earlier when we first got on. Make sure you're good.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Okay, listen. I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay.
Okay, but we don't hear it, so it's definitely something. Not
I don't hear it.
Loud and clear with no echo. But talk to us.
Okay, you don't hear an echo.
No,
okay,
we don't.
So I wanted to share. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
I wanted to share a poem that basically speaks from my heart. I wrote it last year, but I feel like it relates.
Right.
Babylon is falling. My ancestors are calling. They say, don't worry, original ones. The sun they tried to hide will soon eat them alive. Let's love harder and have no fear. For centuries, they could only try to destroy us and hope that all of us would die. To all the organic ones, I assure you, you'll be the last ones to cry. Babylon is falling, left without a soul, because you stole us and sold us. Forget the fucking rabbit. You're going to drown in my black hole. I wanted to share that.
Beautiful.
Excellent. I know you're talented. You had played the instrument.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And anytime.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Always much love and thanks again.
And thank you for sharing that poem.
So much. I learned so much. It's like I have to lay down when I'm listening. You know what I mean? I have to absorb everything in my brain.
Yeah, for real.
All right.
For real. What I want you to do today, Queen Red Pill,
yes.
I want you to call me on the phone one day. Absolutely. I want to pipe you through my equipment. I want to record that and make a separate YouTube video of that so it can go out into the world and your name gets on the credit.
Okay.
And anything creative that that extends to somebody else. Yes. So let me know.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's an honor, sister.
Well, thank you, Queen Red Pill. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace. Yeah.
A powerful poem, huh?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. like they used to say, be careful when you point at me because you got 4 other things pointing back at you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, the hole you dug for me, better be careful because you might fall in it. And so, so we see these but now the other thing too, Brother Lance, is this is part of their plan. Because see, they're always looking for an escape route. Okay, they have already set up these escape routes, and because these East Indian people and Asian people are, because they invested, like right now, if you call outside of this country, it's going to be routed through Dubai. So they have already exported our communication jobs. They have exported a lot of different jobs because they can get, they could get a German or a Russian or any one of these people, scientists, for 1/3 of what they have to pay our people.
Yeah.
So they're not just, this is why I don't listen to this patriotic bullshit they be talking, because they're sold white people are down the river too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
we just,
financially, they're not as, see, they want to look down on us. They better be already there and already have a plan for the future. Because see, what happens is the numbers are skewed because
for sure,
billionaires and millionaires that with their average income of them, the real average is even brought up because they have so many people who make way more money. But if you were to take those few at the top that don't even mess with the common Caucasian blue collar worker, their numbers would drop even more. And we're below them. It's an even thing. So y'all go on, push your nose up and act like you're better and this is your land and you own it, whatever have you. It's over. It's over.
It's over.
I'm gonna say it in a different way. It got me banned on YouTube a couple months ago, but certain people's birth rates are down. And while they say that they're,
but that's true. So they ban you for speaking truth.
Right. But they say that they're the majority in that little place.
Where?
The little place called
Majority
America.
Where?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but they're the world minority.
Absolutely, 100%.
How you gonna walk around and say you're the majority? Just because little place called America. And I'm saying it that way. That little place called America. I mean, because it doesn't, politics and different things, but ain't nobody over here thinking about that stuff. And for those on Rumble, I'm in Ghana right now. I left America this September makes 4 years. Oh my God, you left America? How is he living? I don't got to worry about cops shooting me, shootouts, overdoses, trying to get money out the bank and can't get it. All kind of crime and all kind of racism. I'm free of that.
Shoot up people in malls and stuff, all kind of stuff, man.
And statistics, why they want to say that we are the animals.
Oh, right? No. Savages. No.
Show that they're the ones, the angry white men are the ones that the majority are having these shootouts. Most of that don't even hear about. Because if you heard about every mass shooting, the news would be the shooting channel. We talk about every.
Exactly.
See, so
man, they done a number on us. But for the most part, this is what's good about platforms like yours is that all of this stuff is being exposed now. Where one of the things that they always try to do is they try to isolate those of us who speak truth to them and to our people. So, that strategy doesn't work anymore. The main way they do that is because they isolate us financially,
right?
Where we have to depend on our people for support, even though we don't get it. They put us in that position. But and I shouldn't say that. I should say we don't get it from the majority of our people, but there are people who understand this. And know that we'll get singled out by these evil people to try to shut us down any kind of way they can, mainly through finances. So if I was talking about something about their degraded system, I could walk in a bank today and get $10,000. Easily.
I think they had their eyes on me from 1975.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you a story why.
Oh, sure.
I was at a camp called Camp Treetops up in the Adirondacks. That's when I hiked 11 of those mountains that were over a mile high. It was a camp that we were there for 7 weeks through the summer, 74 and 75. But I think it was the first half of 75 because I left halfway. Michael Rockefeller was there, and we were brushing our teeth, different lean-tos there. He was a kid. He's my age, but he's dead now. I think he turned gay or something like that. But he shoved he shoved into me, and I'm sitting here, and it hit my tooth. I'm like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" So I shoved him down. He got a pow right in the head. They pulled. It's a joke.
Wow.
But it really happened. I didn't know who it was. I was a kid. There are a lot of affluent there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my personal joke with my friends. Once I punched the Rockefeller in the head, they blackballed me from then.
Obviously, they definitely took that to heart. Because but they know, from an early age, they start watching certain of our kids. Yeah, they do. They identify them in school.
Distracting us, but it's easy now because of social media, and it's so hypnotic.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, with these phones.
Toxic.
Toy. I mean, back in the day when we had toys or we had board games, we all had trouble but you had in the middle, we all had Monopoly.
Oh, yeah, trouble.
And we'd sit around with each other and we'd talk, laugh, eat a little something, and hours go by. But these games brought us together and engaged us, right? Now,
that's a good point. Yeah.
They call it social media, but you have the phone, you're in your own world. Even if you have 10 people in the room, you all might just be quiet with your headphones on. And you don't get a chance to buy. And that's what they want, because now it's easier to kill, easier to not connect with each other on so many different levels. And
right. Because digital communication, it kind of, what's the right word I'm looking for? It desensitizes you to human contact. So when we're communicating on these devices, there's almost like another energy that comes into play. That is like an intercessory in between us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's this, we're communicating to this bot, and the bot is communicating to the person we're communicating to.
And these bots are good too. These bots almost
talk.
I like messing with them though, because on Telegram, with crypto bots. Hey Lance, how are you today? I said, I'm having a wonderful. I'm Telegram is infested with crypto bots, and I'm so sick of them. But how are you doing today? You don't
it's amazing, brother.
How you doing? Yeah. And with me, they try to hit me up with these women and pushed up this and that. How you doing? You ain't looking for me.
They know what we like.
Yeah.
Now, that in itself is a trip. Imagine you talking to somebody that knows everything about you.
Yeah.
That knows everything,
But see, that's why you got to whip out like multiple personalities that are like confused. I mean, you have them. I'm just saying, like they think they have it. Yeah. Political, and try to find out, but they already know from the things you look at.
Oh yeah, they already know.
Yeah. I forgot what it was called, but this was back in the 80s. They said they had this centralized thing that had all the information, like a computer that had all the information on everybody. And if certain words in a sentence, like 3 successive words, like, I don't want to say it, right? But bomb being one of them, and maybe it knew. So this stuff that we're playing around with, they had that a long time ago.
Oh yeah, now that you bring that up. Yes. I had a friend back in the 90s. She worked for this department called voice print analysis. Many people don't know that our voice is the most distinctive fingerprint we have. Even more so than your fingerprints. Right. And she was telling me this was back in the 90s. This is how they caught Pablo Escobar. So she said, if you use a telephone and you use any one of those words you just mentioned, or any one of these words, like, government or president or any one of these words, that your voice is now taped in this global system.
Right.
And anywhere that you use a telephone, anywhere in the world, they immediately know it's you.
See that?
Now think about that. And that technology has been around for 30 years.
That's
so
crazy.
It is. So what they do is they run it through the computer to get the match. What percentage of this is authentic? And most of the time, it's like a 99.9% match.
Yeah.
And even in some of the movies I've seen before, where they show this technology that they can match your voice. That's how they caught Pablo Escobar. He thought a secure phone, but now, and you know more about this than me, but now they have the cloud. So once it's out there in the digital world, it's in the cloud. There ain't a damn thing you can do about it. And it's traveling in the waves. So,
I wanted to show this Camp Treetops thing, but I pulled up a bunch of sites, but they usually have the alumni page. And the funny thing about it is they contacted me back in 2006 or 7, maybe it was 2009. And we spoke with someone who was in charge of that they wanted to know if I can make it up there for, like, say, for example, I was there in 74 and 75. And I left halfway in 75. I didn't want to be up there anymore. But that guy, Jim Pugh, the racist guy, and how he threw me in the pool and stuff, and I said to my parents, get me out of here. They knew that, but they must have checked my online content because they never called me again.
I'm sure they didn't. That's funny.
Yeah, pull it up on Facebook. But I gotta log in. Let me log in here. I got more.
So, brother, you gonna do one of those 6-hour shows tonight? You're probably gonna carry on. Yeah, you probably gonna carry on for a while. Huh?
I know you gotta go, brother.
Yeah,
let me see.
I gotta take somebody to the post office. I gotta drive later too.
Right. Okay. I just want to show you something real quick before.
Okay. Sure.
Just randomly pulling up this Facebook page. Oops,
okay.
Present. I'm going to share this page here. Share screen. Facebook. Share. Okay. Right. So I had my dealings from a long time ago. These are recent pictures, right? This is just a Facebook page I pulled up. You see on the end, on the right side, there's only one of us there, but this was the kind of camp that was up in, and anybody,
you were at this camp?
Yeah. And I got a hookup from one of my father's clients who was an architect, because this was a camp for very affluent children. And there's no way that my father, he made good money, but there was no way he was going to afford this. So it was Paul Friedberg, the architect that I later on did apprentice work for in 1985 for almost a year, that said, hey, let me talk to somebody who is head over. Okay, I know this guy right here. Forgot his name, but I know this guy.
This is Western New York. This is Western New York, huh?
This is up near Canada. And, the people there, and I remember the structure so they didn't change it, but the people there, we're talking loaded philanthropists. One of the guys, Brian Bronfman, you can Google his name. He's a billionaire who just gives away money. But you know, see, I know I'm looking at this, start showing some, these are the kind of accommodations we had. They were 4 to a tent, the lake back there, completely safe. There were counselors to each tent. They weren't close to each other. They were like a little walk down, and they had another counselor would stay there all night, safe. And it was so much acreage that you can go for miles and miles and miles and still be on campgrounds. Yeah. This was a little camp that was the size of a city block. This was like, and this was up near Canada. Now in the summertime, nice and hot. Wintertime, ice. And I'm just looking at this for the first time, so I really don't know what's on this page. So let me go back to the pictures. But no, I know you have to go. I just want to share something.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
wow,
camptreetops.org. That's maybe where I should go. I haven't gone here. We just brought it up, so let me see here. They might have some old pictures that might surprise me.
Right.
Daily activities. They had 40, to show you the size of the camp, they had 45 horses there. 45. Wow. Right?
Wow.
So we had chores to do, and that was one of them. Each week we'd circulate, taking care of the horses. We'd go on trips every day if we wanted to. They would offer trips. We'd drive out, some of us, and go hike a particular mountain. The goal was to be a 49er. A 49er is one who in New York State hiked 49 mountains that are over a mile high. See, I did 11 of them. Right? I did some of them over and over because I didn't re-trip. But you meet some of these people at a young age. Now, I don't know who this young lady is. She's evidently younger than me. But going back in time, my psyche was altered. And made aware of how other youngsters think that are my age, but I was my age also, but it expanded more, which helped me communicate with others in other places. You see what I mean? The way they looked at things, the way they thought about things, how they thought, and everything. So it just made me more of a monster. You know what I mean? Because I'm not.
That's a good thing.
You know, but they had all kind of activities and things you could see, and it was that kind of. Yeah, you can walk along by yourself if you let people know where you are, and you could find yourself. But you always, if you left a certain distance, you had to, you know, have somebody with you. But I remember just being up there.
What age were you at that time? What age were you?
11 and 12.
Oh, 11. Okay.
74. Okay. 11 from what was it, July to August, early July, maybe late June to some point in August, because I know July 4th they used to big bonfire in this thing, and I'm gonna dig a little deep, and for the sake of it, you know, I'm not running these people down, but if I run into anybody that I knew, because that was a lake right next to the thing, I may bring them on. There were some people that look like us that really, see stuff like that too, you know, which wasn't a big thing. It's the way they shot that photo, because they wouldn't have you in any danger. But you really got a chance. If you look at the mountain ranges for miles, we were right in the middle of it, and that's up near Canada. So that really my psyche, and learn before certain things really hit me, which it hit me that next year with that particular counselor who told me that Black people can't swim because they have an extra bone in their legs. That's why they sink, but they can jump at basketball. And then his girlfriend, counselor, when I went for swimming lessons, she threw me in. It was just like, you know, so you have that kind of ignorance that they look at you strange sometimes. But then again, some who are young, they're not tainted yet, but they're, you know, it's a funny age. So I learned a lot. Now, that's a site that I'm gonna tell you right there. You see the little, what would you call it? Not a dock, but to the left, that's the one I was thrown off of in this lake.
Wow.
And my particular tent was to the right and up a little bit, but they had like dozens and dozens.
But they have lifeguards though.
Lifeguards when you're there. You couldn't go in without a lifeguard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that
you just throw somebody in a damn lake. You gotta have a lifeguard somewhere.
Yeah, that's what that was all about. You know, but brother, I know you have to go. Sir. I'm not rushing you.
Yes, sir.
I'll dig through some of these photos. I find an old photo of me in there, you know.
Yeah, you might.
Okay, Hubbard lean-to. Let me see if I can bring this in. This is seen the name Hubbard. There's a guy named Brian Hubbard that was there when I was there. I'm trying to pull this in. Then I'm gonna let you go. Look at this. Right, this is far.
So have you ran across any of these people?
No, but look, this is Brian Hubbard. This is they say the Brian Hubbard lean-to. It's a black guy, light-skinned black guy, little nerdy. But they dedicated that. I hope he's not passed on, but you know, maybe maybe that's his name living in there forever. Because I painted I painted a nice big lion on a mural. I painted my behind off, and they were like, "Oh my God, you can paint so good!"
Oh wow!
I mean, but yeah, let me pop this off. I got a lot of history behind me, man, that people don't even realize that I forget about sometimes. You know, it's just amazing.
I mean, I've seen some of the videos that you did way back before 2010, like
old stuff, right?
Yeah, the 14-hour ones. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't know you then. Some of those videos, boy, I'm trying to tell you.
Told me, they said, man, if I do a show, I'm gonna have to sit on the toilet, so I don't have to get up.
Okay.
But I got a lot of footage from my bodybuilding days floating around out there that I'm trying to get a hold of. A lot of magazines and pictures and stuff, not just the same ones I share. But like I said, you know, it's life is funny. But I'm gonna let you go, brother, because I'm gonna run my mouth a little bit more because we have positivity and stuff like that. But man,
yeah, that's great.
It's always wonderful, brother.
Yeah, man, it's always great, man. It's always sharing with you because this, believe it or not, this gives me energy to go forward for the week.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'm gonna do some things. I want to even promote you more. You need that across
I
different.
appreciate it, brother. Yes,
Yeah, no,
yes.
yeah.
I appreciate it, brother.
Messing with the website and getting it right and everything like that. But you're bringing such people need to hear what you're sharing. So I need to
Yes, sir.
graphics good a certain way and across certain platforms and point it right back to you. You know?
Yes, sir. That
You're
would be great.
I've done this for frauds, okay, who turn out to be frauds.
Uh-huh.
You're a fraud, you're the real thing. You know, you can't be
Thank
a fraud
you, brother.
that you do, but frauds talking cloudy kind of, you know, spirituality.
They do. They
Tell
do.
me some facts, like you do.
Yes, sir. All right, brother Lance.
Okay.
Well, thank you again, brother. Give my best to your queen and the people in the chat room. But I'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, definitely, man. All right. Okay, my brother.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Wow. We get more energetic the more the time goes by, don't we? I don't really have much to say. I'm just glad to be here, sweating my behind off once again. I thought I was going to look a little too tired because I couldn't sleep for some reasons last day. I've been getting good rest otherwise, but I really, really have to, I get so focused in the now, which is good, in the future, but there's a lot of things I've learned and been through in the past that I'd like to share. I forgot all about that phase of my life. You know, these things mold you. They change you in a good way when you can, not because of what they look like, but it builds up your range. So it makes you more powerful. So this is what has helped to sustain me in a system that has me as a target. It wants to blame me for the thuggery. I had someone in the Rumble comment section. I'm gonna get them later on. Let me see if I can find this thing and read it out. Because these people, they just, this phone is working so slow. Just give me a second. But really for me now, it's not about fighting these idiots who don't have a clue. It's about building what we need to build for us, and even the us that look like us but are fighting us, and the crabs that are in the barrel. If they want to stay there, let them stay there. You see what I mean? I'm not even talking to protest. I'll talk about what people do sometime if I have a point to make. Oh man, we need to protest this. No, this shows some real unity. And if you're incapable of that, we're moving on. I'm not going to sit here and we need to wake up. We need to unify. We know this. But if you don't know it by now, you'll never know it. And you will know it when the fire hits your ass. You'll know it then. When the fire hits your backside, you'll know it then, but it'll be too late. You have not been preparing. For those in my inner circle, if something happens over there, y'all come over here with us. If there's no room in that big old place we're building, they will sleep on the balconies and in the hallways and in the podcast room or whatever. We'll do it that way. I know you're real. So it's not like just yap, yap, yap. Because when you notice when they say hardworking immigrants, let's just take off how we know the system is. The first ones that come, the first ones that arrive are those who are the most ambitious. Those are the ones who come to work, come to put in the hours, come to do what they have to do. It's that second and third wave of those, once the way is made, that come, and you might have an uncle who's a drunk or a little kid that's a little fast, a little aggressive, you know, the riffraff that will come. But the first ones that come, they know there's no turning back, and we have to make it work. That's my mentality here. I said, I'm not missing a day of what I do. I'm not going to change up what I do too much. We know that I'm in Ghana, and I'm going to talk about it. You'll see the videos. I will, whatever, but I'm not changing myself into the Ghana only channel, because this is one part of my journey. Just like you saw the camp that I was in, you all know I was in bodybuilding. You know I draw. I like to do art. There's other things. Plus, you all found out that I punched the Rockefeller, so I don't know if I can say that too much. If I disappear tomorrow, you'll know what happened. But they got a fight on their hands because, you know, I still got a little bit of juice left in my fruit. But seriously, these situations mold you, and this is why it's so good for you to be exposed to as much as you can. And if you're not able to do so for your children, make them read, make them really read to absorb. Watching stuff on the phone can only go so far deep into your brain. Even if it's like when I was 6 years old, another client of my father, was it 6 years old? It was 6, 5 or 6, definitely 6, right? And they gave me a 5-year subscription to National Geographic. A lot of words I didn't know, but the pictures are fabulous. All the different, this is before the internet. So I'm turning these pages, seeing different, places in Africa and even Europe and, just different stuff. It wasn't just about Africa all the time, but, and how different people lived. That was interesting. Now we have the internet, and this type of content is rare that we find because the algorithms keep pushing certain things on you. I mean, as much as the serious stuff that I may look at on YouTube, they keep pushing me booty. Now, if you're watching booty all the time, they're going to send you more stuff. On my Instagram, some people follow me that have those types of, profiles and stuff. And I know them from, like, say, some of the strippers that I used to take around back in the 90s, the middle to late 90s. I know a lot of adult performers and all of that stuff. I'll connect with them. They have up old pictures. It's always when you're like in the supermarket checkout line, you say, let me check out my Instagram. Bing! And a big butt stand. Somebody's over there. Oh, I know what you're looking at. I'm like, yo, I know her. That's a friend. Oh, you're lying. You don't know her. I'm like, man, it's embarrassing. But I just love the exchange of knowledge. I have hands down the best chat room on the internet. No drama, all love, so much knowledge. It's amazing, and I've learned so much, and I'm so proud. You'll have a troll who'll come in every now and then. You have people who know that they're frauds, they remove themselves as they have in the past. But right now, it's the best it's ever been. Yes. On Rumble, I have 2 accounts. One is LanceScurv, and the other one is the LanceScurv show. I don't know how I made it. But the one that the live stream is on now is the one that says, if you see a choice, it's the one, the LanceScurv show. I got to get the link next time and just drop it on in. Let me see if I can do that now. So we have because I'd like to change that one that says the LanceScurv show to LanceScurv. I want to keep it consistent, but I want to get rid of that other one first, because of the 2, the only one I'm streaming on now is the LanceScurv show. And after I get rid of that one that says LanceScurv, if I can, because the bulk of the people who are following, which it's hard to get following on Rumble. So everybody over there, please, if you go over there, just, follow, subscribe, whatever, because I'm going to call the Irritated Genie tomorrow and see when we can connect and he can come on live. The video that we did on Rumble is still there. It wasn't alive on Rumble. I uploaded it to Rumble. And that's what's on my site, the Rumble version of the Irritated Genie, right? But I couldn't do it on YouTube because as soon as they see his name, it's like, pow, we're getting rid of that video and we're going to give you a strike. So, okay. So I had my own thing on Vimeo that I paid for the premium. I put all my videos over there. I would go live over there and not go live on YouTube, and I had people that I know that they would not like. But even then, I did that show at the Irritated Genie. Of course, when I do a show like that, I want to still distribute certain things and answer things, keep it going. So I got an email from Vimeo. I got to find that email. Matter of fact, let me see if I could find that email. Where did they? Let me see if I can get on. Let me see. Let me punch in. I'll shoot a Vimeo. The video. Okay. I think it's Vimeo support. Okay. It's not coming up. No, it's not coming up. It's got to be there. Let me take off the support. Let me just put Vimeo, searching for my email, account, suspension, but I just put account. I should pull up suspension. Let me see if I can just see suspension. It was a small email they sent to me. I'll find it. And it couldn't be another account, because that's the account that I use for that. Anyway, take my word for it. I'm not there anymore, right? And I said to myself, well, not a bad thing. I save $1,000 for the year. You know, they were giving like discounts, whatever, but it was basically $995. And if you're there for so many years, they break it down, but they were trying to push things back up. So I'm like, okay, fine. I just got to recover those other videos and put them on the site where they were placeholders and everything. And, you know, just stay right on it and just navigate it a certain way, because there's a guy, Nick Trajuli on YouTube, but he's not there no more. It's a bodybuilding channel. He was a former professional bodybuilder. I followed him. We know some of the same people from back in the day. And they smashed his channel. It was good. It was almost like an addiction. I wouldn't say that for real. I'm just saying that for effect. But because I am into that and I follow it intensely, just like I do the sport of boxing, it was a real good channel style. I learned in presentation things from him, right? And I told him. So he's on Rumble, but Rumble, you're not going to grow like that fast. You know, some people are, but from what I see, Rumble, and I'm on Rumble now, right? So the Rumbleettes, they'll come and get me. So what? It's like a political thing mostly. Republicans, Democrats going to war with each other. Different people who are in the industry, they'll have channels there where they can say what they really want, but they're on TV for real, working for the big networks. And some that are not big like that, but they're good in their area with their followers. I'm not saying they're good. Maybe they don't even interest me, but they're good with what they do. So me, you know, like I said, where's the Scurv keeps putting my stuff away? Oh, there it is over there. My drawing pad, my pens, doing some things now. I'm trying to maybe come out with something once a week, you know, to make it nice and detailed. Some stuff that really is controversial that I cannot show on YouTube, or, you know, I'll show part of it on Facebook or part of it here. But if you want to see it, you got to come to the channel. I'll put it up on Patreon for those who support. And again, for those who are on YouTube supporting on the membership channel, just discontinue that, because I want it all on Patreon, right? Discontinue it because it's for exclusive content. But if I put exclusive content there, it's the same ball game because it's YouTube. I don't want to take that chance. So I don't want people to think that, well, I signed up and I'm not getting anything. Just go on to Patreon. And I'm ready now to even start like what I said I was going to do, like the monologues and different things. I keep the cameras with me. If this was New York City, let me tell you something. If I was living in New York right now, I'm not saying I'm going back there. I'm just saying I was speaking to a friend of mine. He's like, Lance, you didn't even know they go to stuff like that. I said, well, I was in Orlando when I started, but now that I've come out the country, I can appreciate what I know about New York and the people that I know there. Oh man, I know some nutcases. They're a lot older now, but boy, you'd get some talk about dynamic content. So there's some people I'm trying to reach out to in different worlds that have evolved, but it's best to be there where you can go knock a door, you know? And I know sometimes I get bad news, but when I do go on a visit, I'm not thinking about that no time soon. Depending on how the world is and how safe it is and this traveling and stuff, because you know they're going to bring back all kind of stuff, whatever. If I do get over there with my cameras, it's going to be content all day, but not just, oh, look at New York City, Times Square. I'm not a tourist, y'all. I don't even want to see all of that. I'll take to the streets like a duck to water and go to where I have to go. I am not fascinated by the place that I did 38 years in. I'm a super New Yorker. I will say that. I'm an old school super New Yorker. I'm not just a person who just lives there and just put the hat on and try to act hard. It's not about acting hard. I'm from way back in them other generations. I remember the original Times Square. not that Disney-fied place that they have now. All those nooks and crannies and streets. I'm going to talk about those things too. And I'm going to bring some friends of mine who actually, when I say roam the streets, it wasn't like we were roaming like a gang. We were good kids, you know, and we just had good, clean fun, right? So I've always, my life is just a bunch of stories, experiences that I've retained, and I'm just so glad to have a way at this age to be able to share it. Because I go crazy. People think I'm nuts. Folks already think I talk too much, so I think this is a perfect medium for me. Even though I'm that quiet artist that can also sit down for hours and draw quiet and listen to some music, which I'm going to do a little bit tomorrow. I want to find a nice spot in the sun where I can do that, but not too hot, because when you're drawing and your hand is touching the paper, you sweat and it kind of wets the paper. You don't want to do that. So I know all these little tricks of the trade and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to drop this link if anybody wants to say anything. Again, I'm going to wrap it down to get ready for Positively Angela. Let me know if you want me to drop my little monologue before that, or maybe after Angela. Maybe I take a little break or whatever. It's ready to roll. Just have to make it public. But it is 1 hour and 9 minutes, I think it is. So it's pretty long. There was a comment left in the old Broke Down Player video that I did. And the young lady wanted me to speak about domineering women. And again, it's not all Black women. We have domineering women in all races, but I want to focus on the sisters who may be that. I'm not saying that all are. I have to say that because people just don't understand the way I talk. I go in with surgical precision. And she was speaking about a family member who was so much of a nice guy, not promiscuous, and younger. So I take it that this woman is older. So I'm not picking on even any age. I'm just saying with those coordinates, through my experience, I just wanted to go in on that. So I went kind of deep. I thought I was going to talk for 15 minutes. It was over an hour. I was like, oh my God. And I just went off and embellished and just took you on a ride where you just got to buckle your seatbelts and just let's roll. You know what I mean? So that's what I like to do. And I like to do a lot of those. I might do one of those every day, throw some on Patreon, keep some free, give a little taste, you know, but the content is flowing. There's not enough hours in a day to write and to talk and to do the shows and all of that. And I'm in heaven. I am in high hog heaven. Matter of fact, I didn't even leave the house today. You know, didn't even leave the house today. That's not good. But today I said, I'm going to put a day in, you know, but I want to go on the balcony, maybe do some things. That's why I can't wait to move up to the house, because I can lay out in the sun and create content, whether it's written or some recorded stuff, run downstairs, go in the back, Mr. Scurv's out there, get her in the garden, boom, get an hour of that, come back. What? Y'all don't know what's coming. Almost there. Another couple months. Won't be next year, won't be the end of the year, another couple months. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? And all of the real people who, I'm not just saying support, and support doesn't just mean money. It's the sharing of the buttons, or like I see mixed genre, she's always saying, hey, you know, subscribe, this, that. Everybody finds their place. Or they may share something or whatever. Master Glam, Queen Red Pill, Sister Gifty, you know, Kwame, SK Channel. I didn't even see. Oh, okay. Give me a number again, because I'm gonna show you straight up. I got this old Chinese phone. So it's already cracked. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, when I say I don't want to get a used phone, first of all, you're not getting a used phone out here. If you do, you don't know what you're getting, because they have over there by where they have the shipping and receiving, where the boats come in, they steal stuff, people's property, and they come out with it. And I don't want that. People, I'm going to get a good phone. I'm going by the port. I'm going by the pier. No, I'm not doing that. And they amplify the prices of the phones. So if something out there in the United States costs $1,000, right? And it's going to be in CDs, so it's going to be 12,000 or 11,000 CDs. It sounds a lot, but it's the same. But they also tack on the shipping and get that out of you, right? So I'm going to wait, probably get it in the United States. I have a person who's coming back, buy it over there, and you know, I'll buy it over there, you know, I'll pay you and just bring it. And when you get off the plane, I'll take it. But I'm not getting it out here. But I do want something that can keep up with my workload. So it's not about, oh, he's just trying to get the top of the line. No, 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 no. If y'all know, my phone is an extension of this, and this is just a little bit. When I get everything set up in the studio with what I have, it's going to be dope, and it's going to drive me crazy. You know what I mean? So I have to be able to, when I'm out, to be able to keep up with that. This little phone here probably costs $80. It worked good for a little bit, but it blacks out on you. One out of every 4 times you try to go, it just blanks out and cuts off. It's weird because I burn that phone out. I do so much on that phone. It's like me trying to do some NASCAR stuff in a tricycle. It ain't gonna work. But anyway, let me see here. Yes. So many comments that I missed. You know, so many comments. I'm not even going to try because it's been popping. Because I have in my analytics, I can check each show how many comments were there. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like I said, I'm blessed. Anyway, I'm going to run. We get some more to drink. I've been sweating like a pig. I'm probably going to go outside out on the balcony and just get some fresh air, make a phone call or two. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. And those who are on Rumble who may not dig what we're doing, but you find it fascinating, thank you for being here too. You know what I mean? A lot of the content that I put out here, you might not like or might not agree with, but you know, like they say, freedom of speech. What you gonna do about it? Can't do nothing about it. You know what I mean? So just listen and learn, because you might learn something, especially those who don't look like me. You know, the arrogance that many of you have, and you know, you just shoot it down, and or you're thugs and you're killing each other. That's the one person said that on this particular show in the comment section. So I'm saying this. We don't have nuclear warheads. You say we're killing each other off and we'll be a speck in a memory? Really? Who does Putin look like? Who does Biden look like? Right? Nuclear weapons? Some thug who shoots somebody does not have the power to drop a nuclear bomb as they have. Some so-called thug that you want to make me to be, right? We don't have the power to drop down nations and infiltrate nations and governments and pay them off and turn them against each other and make them kill each other off so that we can get the resources. And like I said, with your birth rates, check your birth rates. You're saying I'm going to be a memory? Look at the young population out here in the motherland. Yeah, there's issues out here. Everywhere has issues. And most of the time, it can be traced back to that greedy person, that rapist, that robber, that destructive person. And no matter where they've gone to in the planet, they've messed it up. See, your history books lie to you also, just like it lied to me and didn't want me to know my history. But when you know even a little bit of it, it's so empowering. It gives you a pride, a good pride, and it makes you stand up straight because you know that you're the original man of the planet and woman of the planet, and the whole planet belongs to us. But the Johnny come lately, they want to feel as though they're running things. You're destroying things. You're throwing nature off and out of balance. The planet does not want you anymore. You'd be bearing more if you were fruitful to the land, but you're not. This is the crime scene of the universe. And when our relatives return and see what has happened, that's why you want to run underground and go to other planets. But that's in the whole other different story and issue and episode. So anyway, you're right, Master Glam. Positively Angela comes on, what is it now? For me, it's 10:29. So that means it's 6:29 on the East Coast. She comes on at 12 for me, which is 8 o'clock. And I haven't spoken to her today. I have to make sure she's still ready to do it. So I'm just putting it out there because she hasn't canceled or anything. So everything's set up already, you know? Anyway, I need some more water. Thank you so much for being here. Much love to you all. And I'm going to skedaddle on, play a little bit of music. And like I said, we're going to come back with Positively Angela. I have something else to upload. And in that time, I might even record something else. Who knows? I'm in a very, very, very talkative mood today. All right. So much love to you all. Take care. I'll see you shortly. Right?